good morning, everybody. It is the Mike Missanelli Show, a Monday football show. That means we got a lot to discuss. And, as I'm processing the Eagles' loss to the Washington Commanders yesterday, some losses are easier to get over than others. And what I mean by that is that the Eagles are still a bona fide good team. I still think they're the best team in the NFC. They're not going to get a chance to play that NFC title game at home after what happened yesterday. There are a lot of things you can look at and not be alarmed at. There are some things that you should be really alarmed at. But let's look at the big picture, first of all. They played without Jalen Hurts yesterday. If they play with Jalen Hurts, they win the game easy. There's no question in my mind that a team that turns the ball over as much as the Commanders did and also fails to make a fourth down, you don't win that game if your regular quarterback is in the game because you take more advantage of it. Now, were they sloppy? Were they boneheaded? Did they make ridiculous penalties? Yes. Can we look at their defense now as being, susceptible? This is a defense that they've relied on. It was with their strength. It was one of the reasons why we talked about the Eagles being so good on offense, but especially on defense. And they leaked a little bit yesterday. They allowed a team to score 22 points in the fourth quarter, although the first touchdown was really a third-quarter touchdown carryover. But there are some inexcusable things that happened in that game for a team that's supposed to be buttoned down, for a team that's supposed to be the best team in the NFC. And, of course, there is that lame, dopey 12-man on the field penalty, which should never happen at any level in the NFL, but it especially should not happen to a good team. There's the unsportsmanlike nonsense that goes on every now and then with C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Jalen Carter. They should be better than that. And then there's the kickoffs. I mean, you can't kick the ball off to the 9-yard line and give the team that has turned the ball over 5 times better field position to get down the field. And you certainly can't give up 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter if you have a good defense. All that being said, it doesn't knock me down a peg at all when I evaluate the Eagles' overall strength to win the NFC. And I know people are going, well, I don't know about that, Mike. I'm just not going to overreact to a game where the starting quarterback was lost and they were really undisciplined. Now, can you blame the coach for them being undisciplined? I guess you could blame the coach a little bit. Can you blame the players for not having enough personal responsibility? Yeah, you can certainly do that. And I don't understand how the Commanders won that game. I don't understand how they allow them to go right down the field for that game-winning touchdown on the final drive. But again, some losses are easier to get over than others. And in a way, this loss prevents the Eagles from having to win 17 in a row, which is what we talked about. It gives them a chance to reset. They get knocked down a peg. And it also puts them in a position right now to play the Commanders at home in the first round of the playoffs. Now, does anybody actually think that they would lose that game at home in the playoffs as the number 2 seed? Yeah, they have to win an extra game now. But after the 2 seed win, then they would have to play the winner of Green Bay and the Rams also at home. So I don't think it's that daunting. And I still don't think it's that daunting to think that they can go to Detroit. Also, what, Detroit had a resurgence? They're still banged up. They won a game yesterday. Yes, they're still lacking some strength. So the loss yesterday, while it was irritating, does not deter me into thinking the Eagles can't win the NFC. So let's go to my partners, Bill and Ray Dunn, who's heroic work from Ray. We'll explain in a second that Ray Dunn just got off an airplane, and now he's sitting in the catbird seat producing this particular Football Monday today. But, Bill, your thoughts on what happened yesterday?
Yes, I'm right there with you, Mike. I'm never happy after a loss, but we talked a lot last week. If they were to lose this game to the Commanders, would we be worried about the Philadelphia Eagles team? And what I said to you was it really depends on how it looks. This game was just a weird, sloppy, fluky game, in my opinion. You had Jalen Hurts go down. You had injuries to Jordan Davis, Josh Sweat, Darius Slay. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson gets ejected. They have 10 penalties for 91 yards. That's the most that they've had all season long. And even with all of that happening, it still took Jaden Daniels to go on a last-minute drive for them to lose this football game. So I'm not going to overreact. There's a reason why teams don't go 17-0. There's a reason why the Eagles in franchise history had never won 10 games in a row before, which they were on a 10-game winning streak. Things like this happen in football. Now, I am concerned slightly about what the defense allowed the Commanders to do in the fourth quarter. You should never let a team score 22 points in a quarter. When they hadn't let a team score 22 points in really almost 10 games. And those 10 games that they won, only the Jags scored more than 22. They scored 23. So they only let up 36 points yesterday. That's the only time they've ever done that all season. It's the most passing yards that they've let up since before the bye to the Tampa Bay Bucs. So there were some things with the defense where you're like, what the hell was going on? But you can't expect them to be great every single week. I'm just chalking this up to a weird, fluky, sloppy game. Hopefully this forces them to refocus, and they're better for it.
It was very weird. But again, we can look at the drop by Devontae Smith. We can look at the drop by Barkley. But we can look at they still had the game in their hands when Braden Mann kicked off, preceding the final drive. He kicked it to the 9, and special teams gave up a 29-yard return to McCaffrey, but also Sidney Brown lining up wrong to get a penalty, gave him 5 more, so they start the drive at their own 43. And then they played soft defense and allow them to get down the field. But when I look at the key plays of the game, first of all, they had a 14-point lead and a 13-point lead in this game. And they had the interception with 3:06 left that they just kind of squandered. But the key play in the game, I thought, was when they had Jaden Daniels in a 4th and 11 at their own 41. Too long for a field goal. They had to go for it on 4th and 11, and they let him wriggle out for 29 yards down the middle of the field. To me, that was the key play of the whole game.
It was frustrating. It was interesting, too. Look, Fangio's done such a great job this season, but there were some of the calls he had in this game that left me scratching my head. Like, they blitzed Jaden Daniels almost double the amount of what they normally have blitzed through the first 15 weeks of the season. So they made a conscious decision. They were going to run a lot of man coverage. They were going to bring the blitz. I just didn't understand it, especially on a 4th and 11. Jaden Daniels can beat you with his legs, and they come out in a defense where they leave the entire middle of the field, and you have every one of your corners playing man who have their backs turned to Jaden Daniels. It was a very frustrating play. You're right. That was probably the deciding factor. But back to the kickoff thing. What the hell is going on? Braden Mann can't put it into the end zone, Mike? I mean, every single time.
I don't think they're trying to put it in the end zone. I think they're trying to kick it so they get to special teams to lock them down before the 30-yard line. I think they're trying to but he kicked one to the 12 and one to the 9. I mean, you can't do that either.
Especially when the Commanders were getting good returns. Like, I understood maybe in the beginning of the game it was your plan, hey, we're going to try to kick it into the landing zone, pin them deep. But once you saw that your kickoff coverage wasn't great, and at the end of the game, why not just put it in the end zone? I didn't understand that at all. And I still don't understand, why does Braden Mann kick off and not Jake Elliott? I don't know if that's ever been explained.
Maybe they feel that Jake Elliott's leg isn't as strong as it was. And that's the only reason, because, the woes he's had from 50 yards indicates that maybe they don't have trust in the strength of his leg at this point. I don't know what it is. But Braden Mann, I think they are trying to say, okay, we got Braden Mann. He's better at getting it high and letting our guys get down there so we get a really good stop on special teams, but it backfired on them both times. And again, listen, I don't want to shortchange the touchdown that made it 28-27. Is just ridiculous with too many men on the field, with Slay not down. I mean, that should never, ever, ever happen with all his assistants on the sidelines. That can't happen where you get Zacchaeus wide open there and he goes for 49 yards. It's ridiculous. A good team doesn't make a mistake like that.
Yeah, it was a sloppy game. And, Sirianni says it afterward. When the game is that sloppy in so many different areas, it starts with the coach. I think that I don't know what they can necessarily learn from this other than we need to be more disciplined. We need to be more disciplined, not only with penalties, but with everything. Like you said, the 12 men on the field, it was just a weird, fluky game.
I think it shakes them into reality. So we'll see how the people feel today about yesterday. Again, these are losses that you can kind of get over a little easier than other losses because I still think that the premier team in the NFC, our own Ray Dunn, was traveling with the women's basketball team out west, had a delay, just got landed at 9:05 or something, and got here to produce the show. Ray, that is yeoman's work.
He is. He's the MVP right there.
Well, let's get through the full show, and then you could say that I'm the MVP because I am running off 3 hours of sleep, so we'll see how well I perform.
Red eye, boom, right into the booth.
He doesn't mess
from the
with it.
airport. 610-632-0975. We'll hear from you after this.
Can
10 o'clock hour brought to you by Window Nation. Take advantage of Window Nation's 50% off sale on all style windows. Plus, make no down payment with no payments and no interest for 12 full months. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. All right, the text board is open for the people. Now, there was a lot of reaction after the game yesterday on social media. A lot of people thought the Eagles got hosed by the officials, which normally Eagle fans feel. But they were really upset that C.J. Gardner-Johnson got tossed. Now, sometimes you have to get upset at your own player, folks. All right? Now, I know what could he have said? All I could do is read you the rule. And the rule says using abusive, threatening, or insulting language or gestures to opponents, teammates, or officials, using baiting or taunting acts or words that engender ill will between teams is a penalty. It's an unsportsmanlike conduct. When you get two of them, you get tossed. This guy does this all the time. And you got to be smart now. If you're playing for a good team, you can't afford nonsense. Whether you think taunting shit, like people talk to you, they taunt all game long, why do I pick on our guy? Well, I'm thinking he said racial words.
He had to say something that raised it to a level that they've
been trying to get these racial words out of the game.
Yeah.
That's why they put this rule in.
Yeah, there was something going on. Now, look, the first time he got it, I think it should have been offsetting penalties. He says something, and the guy, the guy punches him in the face.
I agree with that.
But once that happens, and you know the rule, and now it's also up to the coaching staff to get in Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's ear and say, hey, listen, you get another one, you're out. He's got to bring it down. He has to be more professional in that moment, knowing I can't do something.
That's the word, professional. Like, it's one thing, you want a rabble-rouser like that guy. He brings energy. I get it. But it does, don't act like an idiot. This is a professional game, a professional player.
And if you go to one of the touchdowns that Jaden Daniels throws, who was the guy guarding the receiver? It was Tristan McCullum. Exactly. It would have been Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. So he hurt his team. I know it's a fine line, though, Mike, because you do want that energy. It's part of the reason they brought CJ back was because he brings that edge, that dog mentality that Sirianni loves to talk about. But you got to be teetering on that edge there.
He got one already for doing that.
Yeah, he has to bring it down.
You would think that, and I blame teammates, too. I blame teammates. You got to corral that guy at that point. There's got to be a leader on that team that says, dude, all right, next one, they're going to throw you out of the game. All right. That's Ray, do we have text to start it off here, or should we go right to the phones?
People, of course, checking in here with their disappointment from that game. We got Terrence in Wilmington. I've been saying for weeks, the other elephant in the room that nobody's talked about. This has become a recurring theme at the end of the game. The D is allowing other teams to go down the field. Yes, some early games, the Eagles will be up points. Teams are driving down the field at the end of the game. Remember, against the Panthers, dropped a touchdown on the final drive.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. You also go back to the Falcons. After Saquon drops that pass, the Falcons had to go all the way down the field. They were able to do it. Panthers did it. The Jacksonville Jaguars, if Nakobe Dean doesn't get that interception, they did it. So it is something that they need to figure out, these last-minute drives letting teams go down the field. But I still think this is such a good defense, Mike. I'm not concerned.
Agree. I totally agree. And again, let's look at the playoffs. I know we were all obsessed with the number one seed. That doesn't look like it's going to happen now. So when you look at the playoff picture, like, do you think that the Commanders are going to come here and win?
No.
In the first round? All right, do you think the Rams are the Packers? All right, I know you love the Packers. You think the Rams are the Packers that come here and win?
No, I'm picking the Eagles over all those teams.
Okay.
Even though the Packers are the ones that would give me the most concern, I still would pick the Eagles. But that's the team I'd have the most concern over is the Packers game. Because I just think
meanwhile, the way it's set up, it looks that Minnesota and Detroit would have beat each other up in the playoffs.
Well, that's why you said something in your open that it looks like now the NFC Championship game won't be here. I'm still not going there because I think there's a strong, strong possibility that if the Detroit Lions are the 1 seed, that they lose in the divisional round, and even as a 2 seed, the Eagles could host the NFC Championship game. I don't think this Lions team is going to the NFC Championship game. I think they're going to lose.
You think that they would lose as it stands now? They would have to play the winner of Minnesota Atlanta. So you think they could lose to Minnesota?
I think they could lose to Minnesota.
Okay, so that makes Minnesota. Means the Eagles would host.
The Eagles would host Minnesota.
Minnesota.
So
right,
that's what I'm
okay,
saying. There's a possibility of it. There's a possibility.
Eagles-Vikings NFC Championship game at the Link.
Brings back some good memories, doesn't it? Well, you also figure, look, if the Packers, as the 6th seed, beat the Rams as the oh no, they would have to. I'm sorry, yeah, the Packers.
Packers play the Rams.
The Packers would play the Rams. If the Packers win that game, the Packers would go into Detroit in the divisional round, most likely. So I mean, that's also a possibility. It's just, this thing could play out interestingly. Now, what's nice, Mike, is because it looks like there's no chance of the Eagles getting the 1 seed, Week 18 becomes a bye, assuming they take care of business against Dallas. So there's some positives that you could take from this game because now they could rest their starters in Week 18.
Yeah, I get it. Listen, they have to play Dallas. Dallas won last night. I didn't expect that to happen either. So now the Eagles, believe it or not, are what point favorite in Dallas?
8.5
8.5, and that might be Kenny Pickett, who, let's face it. I mean, I don't want to say he stinks, but he's not good enough.
No.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
Yeah.
He can't play.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he made a good throw for the touchdown early in the game. He made a couple other good throws. He made some bad throws. And for him not to see that blindside rusher, I mean, oh my God, come on, man. You got to be aware. That guy coming from the left side storming in on him.
Yeah, that was tough.
That terrible play. All right, let's go to Zach in Philly and start things off. Zach, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Zach.
How we doing, fellas?
Hello, Zach.
Hey, guys. Just want to go off the game yesterday. That was an anomaly. I have zero confidence that this changes my opinion that this team is stacked and legit in terms of the Eagles. The stars needed to align for Washington. Let them have their Super Bowl they had yesterday. I think Hurts comes back next week, and I think they lock it down next week.
I'm not so sure he comes back next week.
I just think he does. I think they held him out. I found it a little strange that they gave him the okay. It looked like it's a blue tent.
No, he gave himself the okay. They didn't give him the okay.
Then, yeah, I think
he wanted to go
but
back on. He gave a thumbs up, and they pulled him back and said, no, son.
And, Zach,
And then
it's
they
not
sent him-
impossible. It's not impossible that he's back, but if you look at this new concussion protocol, it's not easy for people
not
who are
in
in
his
it to
favor.
get back. And it's not up to Jalen. Look, Jalen could say, I want to play. It doesn't matter. He has to go through that concussion protocol. There's a strong chance he's not playing against Dallas on Sunday.
You're absolutely right. Look, you saw it in Earth. You saw Sidney Brown come back in the 1 week. I'm not ruling him out completely, but that's also a possibility. I still think Pickett can get it done. I do not have the most confidence in him, but I think he gets it done. And not only that, guys, I think they use this loss as motivation. And
I like that part of it. I think they're pretty resilient. I think when they get kicked in the ass, they get a little embarrassed, they come back with a vengeance.
everybody's press conferences afterwards, Jordan Mailata's, you name it, they are hungry. They are fired up. I want Washington so badly in that first playoff game. I want to blow the barn doors.
Well, they will at home. There's no way that the Commanders win again with the Eagles in revenge at home. But they're pretty much locked into the 2 seed at this point because even if they lose to Dallas, they're not going to lose the final game. And they have the tiebreak over Green Bay.
Yeah, they have to win one of their next 2, and they're a 2 seed.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. But it'll be interesting because Dallas is playing a little bit better right now, and if it's Kenny Pickett,
They could lose that game. But again, it wouldn't matter.
well, then they'd have what it would matter for is your starters would have to play Week 18. It'd be nice. Take care of business on Sunday. Rest your starters. You may not see Jalen Hurts until the first round of the playoffs.
You really think that you need these starters to beat the Giants at this point? They're ready to golf.
Yeah, but if they were to lose to Dallas,
Drew
and I'm
Lock
not
is
saying
gonna
they
beat
would,
them?
but if they were to lose to Dallas,
Come on, man.
you're not going to not play your starters in Week 18. You'd have to.
Yeah, half. 610-632-0975 is how you climb in. It's Football Monday. We're reviewing what happened yesterday Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Losing hurts. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate. Eagles lost 36-33 to the Commanders on Sunday, snapping their franchise record 10-game winning streak. Jalen Hurts was concussed in the first quarter on a drive that ended up putting the Eagles up 14-0. The offense did not score a touchdown after the first quarter concluded and only put up 6 points off the defense's 4 turnovers forced in the final 3 quarters of the game. Defense, of course, gave up the big touchdown drive late that allowed the Commanders to go ahead, and it gave up 22 points in that fourth quarter. The game was littered with undisciplined penalties, struggles on special teams, and, of course, the struggles we just lined up for you on the offensive and defensive side of the football. Nick Sirianni, after the game, talked about cleaning things up with his team.
We'll go back to work regardless of, who played and what situation, and we'll, everybody from myself to the coaches to the players will hold ourselves accountable.
The loss makes it very unlikely this team's going to end up with a top seed in the NFC, and they were unable to clinch the NFC East crown. They have a chance to do that again next weekend against the Dallas Cowboys. Elsewhere in Philadelphia sports, the Phillies trade for Jesus Luzardo, adding to their starting rotation, and the 76ers have the Spurs tonight. You can listen to that game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. I'm Ray Dunn on the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
97.5 The Fanatic. All right, coming around the NFL. It's around the NFL at 11:30. Some interesting results happen, and of course the college football playoffs happen. I know there are people out there. Oh, he's gonna hammer Penn State. I mean, he's gonna throw Penn State out there and stuff it down everybody's. No, I'm not.
They look good, though.
Yeah, they beat an inferior team. They beat a team that was outclassed in cold weather.
Man, 3 interceptions in the first half, right? Alone?
Yeah, and plus, I have to laugh because these Penn State haters, they go, oh, they're going to get theirs now at Boise State. They're an 11-point favorite against Boise State. No, they did get the luck of the draw. I'm not going to, I can't deny it. They got the luck of the draw. They're playing the 2 worst teams that were in the tournament.
Yeah,
now,
them losing actually benefited them.
If they play Georgia, I know Ray's hoping for Penn State Notre Dame.
So badly.
Notre Dame could probably beat Georgia. Notre Dame looks good. And Georgia's got that quarterback problem. So if it's Notre Dame, right, does Penn State beat Notre Dame?
Probably, yeah.
You think so?
I think so.
I don't know. Notre Dame's pretty good.
It would be fun, though.
Again, I don't have any rooting interest in that one other than to see the world burn.
Here's the team that they can't beat. Ohio State. Maybe they can beat Oregon this time. But the way Ohio State looked, Ohio State will mash them again. So there you go.
And then what's the record for James Franklin against Ohio State?
Not a homer. There you go. All right. Let's go back to the text board. The defense. This is a defense that everybody believed in. I believed in, and they leaked a little bit yesterday. So what are they saying, Ray?
Jay from Narberth. Hey, guys, my main takeaway from the game is that the defense isn't as good as we thought.
I know people are going to say that.
They benefited from the offense's elite run game, long drives, and extended time of possession. It's easy to play well when you're only on the field for 20 minutes.
Total overreaction.
Definitely is an overreaction. Look, they were also battling some injuries. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson getting ejected. That caused some issues. Slay was in and out of the game.
Sweat.
Josh Sweat was in and out of the game. Jordan Davis was in and out of the game. There were a lot of factors at play. I don't think you can overreact. Look, here's what I like to ask people sometimes. If the Eagles had a bad defense that was giving up this many yards and this many points every single week, and then 1 week they held a team to 18 points and under 200 yards, would you say that team's defense was better than we thought? No, because it was only one game. You got to look at it the same way here. It's one game. You can't throw out a 14-game sample size because of really only one quarter. I mean, it was the fourth quarter yesterday where you saw things start to leak oil and fall apart. But
yeah,
people
even had a
overreact.
backup linebacker in there, didn't they? Who was the backup linebacker they had playing in that game?
Oren Burks.
That's right. Oren Burks got some time in that game.
Oren Burks got some time. I think Charles Harris, the new addition they had on the edge, he was in there a little bit. It was just a weird game. Like even the one big play that they give up when they have the 12 men on the field, because the defense thought Slay was in the game and then he runs off, nobody's guarding that wide receiver. It was just a weird, fluky thing. Let's not overreact. This is a good defense. I didn't love some of the calls. I didn't love that they were blitzing like crazy, playing a lot of man coverage against a running quarterback, but they'll bounce back. They'll bounce back.
All right, let's get back to the phones. We got Dell in Germantown. Dell, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, what's up, man?
What's up, Dell?
Hey, I want to shout out Bill. I follow you on Instagram, man. You actually introduced me to 97.5. So.
Oh, good to hear, man. I appreciate the support, brother.
Yeah. So I'm in between. All right. I know it's a must-win game next week against another divisional team. So, all right, if we win that game, I just want to know, like, should we bench the starters or should we let Saquon go get that record? Because I know he close. What he like 300 yards plus? So I'm in between. Like, I don't know if we should because I think Kenny Pickett can get that done if he do start. But what y'all think?
I think they ought to let him get the record. It's an all-time record. I don't think you can deprive a guy from doing something like that.
But wait. He needs, I think it's 267.
If he gets what? If he gets 150 next week,
So that would mean he would
Yeah.
need 117 against the Giants.
and you were going to deprive him of that?
Well, what if Dell's point is, what if the game doesn't matter
If he gets less than 100, it's over
next week?
But if he
Right.
gets 150, 117 for the all-time record, you would deprive him of that?
Dell, would you let him play Week 18 if the game doesn't matter?
I won't. And the only reason why, because we got bigger fish on the plate, and that's getting to the Super Bowl. And look what happened to Jalen Hurts. He banged up. We're not sure if he's going to come back next week.
Yeah,
So-
I get it, but Jalen Hurts wasn't going for an all-time record. This record has been on the books for a long time, Dell. That he'll never,
Yeah.
ever get a chance to get close to that again.
I mean, we do got him for 3 years, so who knows how next year will
Come on, Dell. You know that's not going to happen every year.
No.
I don't know. Yeah, you're right, but we don't know. Saquon is just different. But which one you rather? A record?
Well, it's not what I'd rather. Obviously, I'd rather have team success. I'm just saying, personally, for the guy, are you going to be the guy that makes that decision to stop him from an all-time record? It's like benching Cal Ripken.
Yeah, but let me tell you why this is all a moot point, okay? If Kenny Pickett plays against the Dallas Cowboys, Saquon's not running for 150. Because you saw what happened yesterday. Once Jalen Hurts was out of the game and the Washington Commanders adjusted.
All right, then it might be a moot point.
Yeah, it is. Because, look, first half.
But that's not talk about the moot part of it.
Well,
Let's talk about the go part of it.
But here's the issue, though, Mike, because in the first half yesterday, before the Commanders adjusted, Saquon ran for 13 carries, 122 yards, 9.4 yards per carry.
Dude, I get it.
Second half,
I'm telling
16 carries, 28 yards.
I get it, which means you have a game to play with to see if he gets close. We were discussing it in the context of if he needs 117.
Yeah. Let me tell you why
For
else I
the
wouldn't do it.
all-time record.
Let me tell you why else I wouldn't do it.
All right.
Right now, if the Giants lose their next two, they're the number one pick in the NFL draft. They get their quarterback of the future. If the Eagles rest their starters in Week 18 and the Giants come in and they beat the Eagles, there's a chance the Giants could fall all the way to 7th in the NFL draft. And now you're not getting maybe that franchise quarterback that you wanted. So there's a lot of factors at play. If they go for the record and they win the game, you got to play your starters. You don't get the bye. You make the Giants draft pick better than it should
Are
be.
you really worried about that?
There's a lot of
Are
factors.
you seriously worried about who the Giants are going to take in the draft?
Let the Giants win Week 18. Beat the Cowboys this week. Rest your starters in Week 18 because it's not going to matter. That's your bye week. Let the Giants win. Ruin their draft order. It kills two birds with one stone.
You're the same guy who would let a guy throw 120 pitches to get a no-hitter.
I
You're the
probably
same
would.
guy.
But I
Because
wouldn't.
we've discussed it.
But I wouldn't let Saquon do that.
Exactly. Now, Ray, what do you think?
I've gone to the side with Bill in this one of resting him. I'm too fearful of what might happen to him in a special season where I want to
You
see him
have
go all
no
the way.
regard for the guy himself. You're looking at the team. I get the team. I get it. How could this guy will never come close? He's within inches of setting the all-time record.
Yeah, but I go back to, and Bill made this point to me when I was ready for them to play him, of you probably have to trot out that offensive line as well. And now the number of starters that you're playing in that game goes up from just Saquon Barkley.
You got to play everybody. You would have to play if you're going for the record. And the reason that you would want to go for the record is not just for Saquon, because the offensive line, Jordan Mailata, they've all talked about what it would mean to them too. You can't let Saquon go out there with the backups. No, you're playing the entire offense. That's why I'm saying I'm kind of happy that he's 267 away because I think this is not going to happen. I think he's not going for 150 this week. He's not going to be within reach. He would probably need 150 the last game of the season, and I'm not going out there.
Disqualifier. If he needs 150, of course not. If he needs 96, what?
Yeah, but that would mean he's going to put up like 170 this week.
Okay. Play with me here. Play along. My
sorry.
God, it's like play along.
Making me feel
We're
bad.
having
Play
a
with me.
barroom conversation here. If he needs 95, what are you doing?
If he needs less than 100, Week 18 at home against the Giants, and the game does not matter, right? The game doesn't matter.
No, the game won't matter. That's already goes without saying.
I'm not doing it. If he needs,
God.
if he goes off for 200 this weekend and he needs like 67 yards, maybe because you could do it in the first half.
All-time season rushing record. All time.
I think the rest of the players is more important.
Okay. All right. This is like Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hit streak. You're going to bench him because he's tired?
No, it's a lot different.
That's what I'm saying.
DiMaggio wasn't going to get hurt trying to hit.
What are you talking about?
If you have to play,
you can pull a lat. You can pull a hamstring.
Yeah, but if you have to play not only Saquon but that entire offensive line and probably Jalen Hurts.
See, this is why. Would Dan Campbell let the guy play? You're damn right he would let the guy play.
And that's why
Macho Dan Campbell would let him play.
And that's why half his team is hurt because Dan Campbell's an idiot.
Let's go to the text board. There's a text that's upset with us.
Yes.
All right, go ahead, Ray. What could he possibly be upset?
Mike from Philly. Mike and Bill are letting a 6 off the hook by dropping the pass that would have sealed the game. No excuse to drop the ball in that spot. He would have scored on that play.
What's this? The first guy dropped the ball? And the first hole I dug? I mean, the guys drop a ball every now and then. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, and I thought Devontae handled it well in his post-game comments, basically saying, look, it's part of the game.
He rarely drops balls.
Yeah.
Is there a receiver who has not ever dropped the ball? No.
It's just the moment that he dropped it.
He looked away. Sometimes when you look away, you don't secure the ball in your hands. You don't pull it in. Sometimes guys do that. They're in a hurry.
Pretty crazy, though, that you look at this Eagles team. They got 3 losses. 2 drop passes away from being 14-1.
Even though he drops the ball, the game was in the hands of who?
The defense.
That's exactly right. And it was in the hands of the frickin' kicker who got it to the 9.
Braden Mann.
Exactly.
Yeah, the defense.
So we can look at the drop all you want. There are other factors that continue to play out in that game.
So they take the 30-28 lead with Jake Elliott hitting that 50-yard field goal, which I thought was big for the future here. I know some people are getting on Jake Elliott for missing that 56-yarder. I thought that was a hard kick, man. Outside, cold weather, a little bit windy. He hits it well. It just comes up short. But anyway, he makes it a 30-28 game. The defense does get an interception after that. So we're putting it on the defense. I get it. But they did get the interception after that. You thought the game was over when Blankenship picks it off. Then they kick another field goal, give the ball back. It's just a fluky game, man. Every time we talk about anything that happened, it was fluky.
By the way, where did the Commanders start their first drive of the game?
At the 40.
Why?
Because it was an illegal kickoff by Braden Mann.
Exactly. He didn't put it in the landing zone.
But they kept responding early. Like, that happens.
They did. They got away with that.
And then they stopped them on 4th and 1. And
exactly. Then they got a touchdown out of that.
Yes, they kept responding early. It was just, I don't know, the penalties, the injuries, everything just came back and caught up to them eventually.
Charlie and go ahead, Ryan.
Sounds like we're going to have to play the Michael Clay presser this week. We're going to have to hear what he has to say. Break down special teams.
Terrible. All right, let's go to Charlie in Levittown. Charlie on 97.5 The Fanatic. Charlie.
2 words. Killer instinct.
Well, you don't think the Eagles have it?
Nope. I think of Jack Tatum. And I think of Jaden Daniels waltzing through the Eagles defense. And I think Jack Tatum would have an answer for
You know why Jack Tatum would have an answer for that? Because all the quarterbacks back then were slow and plodding. You think it's easy to tackle Jaden Daniels?
He would put him out.
Why? Because they weren't Jaden Daniels. There's a different quarterback in the NFL now, Charlie.
No.
Come on.
No, he would line him up
Oh,
and put
stop
him
it.
out.
You think it's easy to line up a shifty, fast quarterback? Come on now.
Line him up and put him out.
Come on now. Come on. Let's not go back in time here.
Jack Tatum.
Jack Tatum.
It's also, you got to understand, this is part of the problem I have with the slide of the quarterback that results in personal fouls. Because now you have guys, this is why I threw out my idea that I think before the game, a team should have to declare whether or not they want their quarterback to be two-hand touch once they leave the pocket. And if Jaden Daniels and Josh Allen and teams with a running quarterback say, you know what, we don't want that level of protection, we don't want the two-hand touch, well, then it's full contact. Because I guarantee you, when those guys are coming at Jaden Daniels, you are instinctually in your head thinking he may slide. So you're a little hesitant. He may slide. They got to do something to fix that. It's not.
No, they don't. You know why?
Because they want more points.
It's a quarterback lead.
Yeah.
Okay? And if we're in denial of that, then your point comes across. We're not in denial of that. We don't want quarterbacks hurt.
No, because it ruins the product.
Okay.
I mean, look what happened to the Eagles yesterday.
You got to watch Kenny Pickett for 3 quarters.
Jalen gets knocked out of the game. And look, let me say something about Kenny Pickett real quick. Yesterday, it did show how important Jalen Hurts is to this offense because he makes everything go. Not only the passing game, you saw the impact it had on the rushing attack, that when there's no threat of Jalen Hurts pulling it in an RPO, there's no threat of getting the ball down the field, they're able to load the box and really key
they tried RPOs
on Saquon.
With Pickett.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
No.
But I will say the over-the-top hate towards Kenny Pickett is exactly that. It's over the top. You have to understand he doesn't take first-team reps during the week. They're not game planning for it. Dude, I've seen people saying that Kenny Pickett's terrible. They got to go with Tanner McKee.
Listen, people. Of course, people are always going to do that.
Backup to the backup.
Yeah,
The backup to the backup.
Put Tanner McKee in there. I read a quote. Shouldn't Tanner McKee get some reps in this game because he might have to play next week? Yeah, what reps in the game that's still not decided?
Wait, what? Here's what threw me off with the Kellen Moore decisions, and Nick Sirianni, I'm sure, was involved. They ran so much heavy personnel when Kenny Pickett came in with multiple tight ends on the field, which played right into what Washington wanted to do. Washington was loading the box, and they're keying in on Saquon. Why not try spreading them out a little bit and maybe letting Kenny throw those little slants to A.J. or Devontae to open things up? Because once it became clear you're coming out with 2 tight ends, and they're loading the box, Saquon couldn't do anything.
What? Wait, isn't that in the purview of the head coach?
That's why I said Kellen Moore and to a certain degree Nick Sirianni too.
Nick Sirianni got total control. He can't say, hey, Kellen, look, let's do this.
I didn't love what they were doing on offense.
All right.
So I'm not doing a good enough job.
610-632-0975 is how you climb into the show. It is the Mike Missanelli Show at 11:30 around the NFL, with a surprise thrown in there. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Losing hurts. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate. The Eagles lost 36-33 to the Commanders on Sunday, snapping their franchise record 10-game winning streak. Jalen Hurts was concussed in the first quarter on a drive that put the Eagles up 14-0. The offense did not score a touchdown after that first quarter and only put up 6 points off the defense's 4 turnovers forced in the final 3 quarters of the game. That defense did allow 22 points in the fourth quarter, including a last-minute drive in which the Commanders went up for good. The game also had some undisciplined penalties, poor special teams, a lot of sloppy play, and Nick Sirianni addressed that postgame.
We'll go back to work regardless of who played in what situation, and we'll everybody from myself to the coaches to the players will hold ourselves accountable.
Well, they're going to start looking at that as they look at the missed opportunity to get the NFC's crown this weekend in that game against Commanders. They'll be able to clinch it again next weekend when they take on the Cowboys, and now the chance for the top seed seems to be gone for this Eagles team. Looking elsewhere in town, the Phillies made a trade for Jesus Luzardo to add to their starting rotation. They made that deal with the Marlins, and the 76ers have the Spurs tonight. You can listen to the game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. I'm Ray Dunn, the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
cold along the beach, on the wind whipping down the boardwalk. Hey, Ben!
You guys know what time it is?
You guys know what time it is? What? Oh, Christmas time. You guys all been good.
You guys all been good and practicing real hard. Yeah.
Clarence,
you've been rehearsing real hard now. So Santa, bring your new saxophone, right? Everybody out there been good or what?
Wait. Now, this is a good time.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow, man.
Tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, since it's Tuesday, since it's Christmas Eve, I am unveiling a field of 32, which is half of 64.
It's good math by you.
For brevity.
Ray, can you double check that, Mr. SAT?
Confirmed.
Field of 32. I've seeded all of the Christmas songs that I've selected, the top 32 Christmas songs. Some have different versions. You'll have Mariah, you'll have Sinatra, you'll have Bennett, you'll have Bowie and Bing. All those songs will be in there.
And who will come out on top?
That is correct.
Interesting. You have a favorite Christmas song of all time?
No.
I don't want you to. Actually, I don't want you to influence the audience.
I can tell you the number one seeds are, pretty. I'll tell you what the number one seeds are because they can't be beat, in my opinion. All right, so that Nat King Cole, Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire, got to be a solid number one seed, right? You would agree with that?
Solid.
All right. Yeah. So here were the number one seeds as selected by the committee, which is me.
It's a strong committee.
All I Want for Christmas by Mariah Carey.
Yeah, that has to be on there.
Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas by Sinatra.
Very good.
The Christmas Song by Nat King Cole. And White Christmas by Bing Crosby.
Yeah, Bing Crosby.
Can you beat those four?
See, it depends because you don't have Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer on there.
Well, let me give you the two seeds. You see, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer actually got a 4 seed by the committee.
Okay.
The 2 seeds will be This Christmas by Donny Hathaway. Classic.
That's a good one.
Little Drummer Boy by Bowie and Bing Crosby.
Oh, that little collab.
Let's see. What else? Silent Night by The Temptations.
Now, did you get White Christmas by the Drifters?
No, I got White Christmas. The other 2 seed is Winter Wonderland by Tony Bennett.
See,
what do you say? White Christmas?
White Christmas by the Drifters is my favorite Christmas song of all time. Boom, boom. You know that one?
No, White Christmas by Bing Crosby. Come on, you can't.
I like the one by the Drifters.
That will headline our NIT. Okay.
Yeah, that would be the NIT.
Make the tournament.
What about Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer?
No, Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer did not make the cut.
What
Grandma
about
survived.
What about Run Rudolph Run by Chuck Berry?
Run Rudolph Run did not make the cut. It was considered. Here are the
actually Run Rudolph, I think is.
Yeah, here are the 8 seeds in case you're interested for the lowest seeds in the tournament. I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus.
Jackson 5?
Yes.
Yeah, it's got to be the Jackson 5.
By the Jackson 5. Feliz Navidad by Jose Feliciano. No reaction to that?
No, that's a great one.
The 8 seed now. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays by
NSYNC.
Yes!
Yes! Love that song.
Oh, yeah. We've been
So
waiting.
unsurprising.
Oh, yeah.
And Little Saint Nick by the Beach Boys.
All right, what about Melikiliki Maka is the one?
No.
Ray likes that.
No, it's only 32. And
NIT. We'll
Dominic
have
the
an
Donkey
NIT.
is not in it, in case you were interested.
Oh, man.
So there you go.
All right, so we'll give some
have some
honorable
fun
mentions thrown in throughout then.
Yeah, we will do that tomorrow. We'll have a little fun on Christmas Eve. It'll remove the heaviness of what happened yesterday for the Eagles, and we have a lot of heaviness online so far today. So let's go to Alan in New Jersey. Alan, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, Alan?
Good morning, Mike. How about Oh Holy Night by Robert Goulet?
Oh Holy Night is in the field.
But not
it's
by
not
Goulet.
Robert Goulet. Let me see. Oh Holy Night by Celine Dion.
Oh, that's tough to
Wait
beat.
a minute. Robert Goulet, really?
Celine
that
Dion. we went with.
I mean, okay.
Were you going to complain about
White
Celine Dion, the French songstress?
No, I like the.
Oh,
I like
Sacre Bleu.
But nobody's deeper in the than. But that's an opinion. I agree. With
guess
you
who she's facing up against? She's up against Michael Bublé in tomorrow's Field of 32.
Robert Goulet, deeper, that voice for Old Holy Night is outstanding. I agree with you totally about White Christmas. Nobody, I can't listen to White Christmas other than Bing Crosby. I mean,
I hear you. Classic. It's a classic.
And how about Karen Carpenter with Christmas songs?
Yeah, Karen Carpenter is in the field. How about that?
Okay.
All right. You're going to have to call back tomorrow to do this Christmas stuff.
Okay. Now, a couple things. Mike, both of you, I don't hear you both talk about the Minnesota Vikings. I'm a big Eagle fan.
Mm-hmm.
But with Addison and, more importantly, Jay Jefferson and Hawkinson, that is going to be a whole lot more formidable opponent than just the one receiver that the Redskins have.
You might be right, and the game might be in Minnesota. So you're right about that. But if the game is here, I don't know.
Well, if they win out, they play Green Bay next week. First of all, they've allowed less points than the Eagles.
Yeah, they're
And
good. They're
the
surprisingly good. I've been late to come to their party, but they could very easily be the one seed.
I watch a lot of football. I love the Eagles. I watch the Eagles, but I also I'm a football fan as well. Mm-hmm. And yesterday, next week they got Green Bay, which is another team. I'm more sold on Minnesota because they have more weapons and they mix up their defenses. But with that threesome, that is concerning with our secondary. And yesterday I thought they should have had somebody watching Daniels, like a spotter.
Yeah, but a spy messes up your whole defense. Fangio's not that type of guy.
Yeah, I'm not
a spyman.
I'm not a huge fan of the spy, but it's just tough when you're going to run man coverage and leave the middle of the field open like that. Yeah. And that's why maybe against the zone would have been better.
Yeah, he had a big run on that last drive, too.
But, see, that's an overreaction call, though, because he's concerned about the Eagles secondary. Mm-hmm. The Eagles secondary has been so damn good. I mean, you saw the touchdown that Quinyon Mitchell gave up against the Commanders. I haven't seen him look like that in any game.
That was his one lemon.
Yeah.
And Slay made some plays early and then got beat. And then, the Bond Blankenship, that probably shouldn't happen.
But he's concerned about the Vikings, right? And the Vikings are on a 8-game winning streak. The teams they've beaten in this 8-game winning streak are not impressive. The Colts, the Jags, the Titans, the Bears twice, the Cardinals, the Falcons. Yesterday they played the Seahawks in Seattle. I picked Seattle +3. They ended up beating them 27-24, but that was a close game. I mean, the Vikings, they're a good team. I think Kevin O'Connell should win Coach of the Year for what he's done. But they don't scare me. Maybe I'll come back to eat those words.
They don't scare me either because we shortchange them. I think they had a tussle yesterday with the Seattle team, and they made enough plays to win that game. Now, when I look at the final drive of the Commanders, I said, "Wait, man, they're blowing this," because Daniels had the scramble, and he only got 2 on that play, and they ran Robinson on the next play. I'm thinking, oh, my God, they're really pushing it. Then they got the quick spike. So they left themselves really a small margin for error.
I know everything had to go their way on that last drive. It was just a surprise, man. It was very surprising they let them do that.
Let's go to Richard on his cell. Now, Rich, you hang in there. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come by and we'll give you the full Monty here. So, again, I am on record saying that loss yesterday, I know it bothered a lot of people. It served a couple purposes, though. When you lose late in the year, I think it gives you extra incentive to come roaring back. You get that loss out of the way. It almost cleans your system. It's like a laxative.
Well, yeah, I mean, we talked a lot about...
Right? It's like a laxative?
Ray knows about that a lot.
Correct.
There you go. Ray probably needs one. He's been on a red eye.
Yeah, did you go on an eating tour through San Fran or no?
No, I didn't really get a chance to do the eating tour through San Fran. I did get some good food while I was out there.
Yeah, but you're on your keister for 6 hours on that red.
Yeah, no, I haven't eaten since probably we left the arena.
Yeah, you might need a
sometime last night.
But look, we back to your thing about losing though.
Yeah,
the laxative. I was concerned, and we talked about this last week. Hey, they would have to win 17 straight if they didn't lose a game. And I thought, well, the Carolina game could really serve as the loss because they were forced to refocus. Well, this is definitely going to force this defense to refocus and figure out where things went wrong. And it also is going to make them refocus from a conduct, I guess is the word I'm looking for, perspective, where you can't cross that line because you saw Jalen Carter punch somebody against the Steelers. You didn't want Nick Sirianni to say anything to him. Well, maybe this really needs to be addressed now because you saw a couple personal fouls yesterday.
You misinterpret me. I said I didn't want him to say anything to him on the field, but read him the riot act in closed quarters.
Well, they're definitely got to read the riot act this week. The team has to be more disciplined.
He's going to be one of those guys that you're going to have to wrestle with. 610-632-0975. But the C.J. Garner thing makes me absolutely crazy. You got one bite at the apple, and you take another bite? Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Not only can you listen to The Fanatic,
Money is brought to you by Grungo Law, your law firm when you need help because of an injury. Pray for peace, prepare for trial at grungolaw.com. All right, let's get back to the text board because I think this guy has the right perspective about the game. Ray?
Yeah, we'll take you to Zach in Florida. That game means almost nothing to me. No hurts, a bunch of defensive starters missing significant minutes. In a get-back situation, the Eagles hang 50 on that team. Saying this defense is bad now is clown behavior. And, of course, the defense benefits when Hurts is on the field for 10-minute drives. That's what a complete team does. And if Barkley is in a position to get the record against his old team, you have to let him do it.
There you go.
Answered a lot of our questions.
Yes, he did. And I agree with him, except for the fact that they squandered the 1 seed. That would have been important. I would like to see them keep pace with that, but they didn't.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be maybe reacting differently depending on how this slate of games goes this Sunday. Because if the Vikings and the Lions win, then it wouldn't have mattered anyway if they beat the Commanders last week.
Yeah.
So,
but I like to, I would like them to stay in it.
Well, somebody sent me a video on Instagram. I don't know why they said, make sure you show this to Mikey Miss. But it was Dan Campbell's press conference. And
you better hold yourself right there. We have around the NFL.
Well, no, it wasn't this, but it was.
Okay.
It was. You could hear the Detroit Lions players celebrating in the locker room when the Eagles lost. So they were happy that the Eagles lost.
And the head coach was happy that his squad won.
Well, I know we're going to get to it around the NFL.
Yeah, you're going to hear them.
I'm going to give you a little tease here. I thought what they did was so dumb.
What, that trick play?
Yeah, it was so dumb, man.
Come
Unprofessional. On, what is this, high school football?
They were toying with them.
It's ridiculous. Come on, that's not football. You got to trick the team by pretending to fall. Get out of here.
People that don't know what that is, around the NFL is coming your way. We'll tell you exactly what it is. All right, so you got your Sixers on 97.5 tonight, and your Flyers, where, as they say, down the dial?
Down the dial.
I guess down the dial on WMMR.
Correct.
Flyers at the Penguanos. And the Sixers, a 5.5-point favorite at home tonight against the San Antonio Spurs and Victor Wembanyama.
And I'm assuming Joel's playing, right?
Haven't heard anything to the contrary yet.
I would think he would want to play against Wemby, just to show the young
lad.
Yeah, the young lad. Like, listen, I'm still the big man in the NBA. Mm-hmm. But we'll see.
Okay. Richard on a cell joins us. What's up, Rich?
Greetings. Good morning, Bill, Ray, and Mr. Missanelli.
Hello, Ray.
Happy holidays to you, gentlemen.
Thank you. You too.
Wait, why am I Bill? Why is he Ray? And why is Mike Mr.?
I'm venerable. That's why.
Well, isn't it evident? Aren't you in law, Mr. Calrulo?
Yeah, well, you called me.
I can refer you by your last name. That's I could, if that's what you prefer. Does that make you feel better?
No, Mr. Calrulo.
No, I wouldn't like that. That sounds like my dad.
Oh no, I can.
So what
Anywho,
do you got, Richard?
So I was curious to. I don't want to be, I'm older, and I've I guess matured a tad, and the Negadelphia spirit is dwindling. I was thinking to myself that our offense, when Jalen went out, it wasn't as cohesive, but I think it became really one-dimensional. So I was just curious. I didn't see Gainwell in enough, or what I thought was enough. I didn't see enough plays to Calcaterra or Goddard. We have other receivers. I didn't see anything. I mean, I saw
Goddard's out, right? Goddard's out. He's hurt.
Oh, he was out. Okay.
Yeah, he's
but don't we have another tight end too?
Or Calcaterra, but they didn't really target him.
And then they had C.J. Uzama in the game,
who made a great block on that Saquon run.
And then don't we have that 6'6" receiver, or did they cut him?
Yeah, he's hurt too, Johnny Wilson.
Okay. So depletion is the reason why. Okay. That answered a lot of the questions I was curious. I was just thinking.
You wanted to see more Kenny Gainwell. Is that what you're saying?
No. Just them opening up the playbook a little bit. There was one play that I saw. There was like a sneak trick, or almost looked like it was going to be a version of an end around. But that's what I was thinking. I was thinking there might be an opportunity for them to open up the playbook a little bit.
Yeah, well, they targeted their two wideouts like 20 times. They more than that. What were the targets both of those guys got? And listen, if you're Kenny Pickett, they're the guys you want to target. And let's face it, you want to go to your most reliable guys, right?
Yeah, A.J. Brown was targeted 15 times.
15 times. They only got him 8 catches on that, though, right?
Yeah, and Devontae was targeted 8, so that's 23 between the two of them.
Yeah, and
23
like
to
if I'm,
25.
Yeah, if I'm calling plays, I'm doing the same thing with Kenny Pickett. If you're reliable guys involved. Now, Calcaterra was strangely left out of it.
Yeah, I understood part of why they got a little bit conservative with Pickett. Not only is he not Jalen Hurts, but he wasn't picking up any of the blitz protections. You talked about the one where clearly the offensive line is sliding left and that clear rusher's coming. That's on the quarterback.
Yeah.
I just didn't love all the heavy personnel because you played right into the hands of what Washington wanted to do. They wanted to load the box.
They didn't trust the quarterback. Would you trust Kenny Pickett throwing him in there as his first action in a big game like that? Would you trust it to open it up?
Not necessarily open it up, but I feel like you had to at least keep the defense honest. They knew when you're coming out with 2 tight ends, you're letting them load the box. They were just keying on Saquon. Like, you had to do something to maybe keep them honest, spread them out a little bit.
I don't know, man. I'm throwing quick slants and quick outs.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go crazy with Kenny Pickett. First of all, I don't even know how he can, like, this glove thing with him. I don't understand it.
Trying to think, who else wore gloves back in the day?
I don't know. I mean, listen, maybe that works better in the cold. I have no idea. It looks like that patent leather material that's really tight that maybe can snug the ball a little bit. But I just can't understand how you could get zip on the ball with a glove.
Yeah, but look, at the end of the day, even though the offense wasn't anywhere near as effective with Pickett that it would be with Hurts, Pickett did do enough to win the game. He did. Your defense, if you got 33 points and you got the best defense in the NFL, to me, the main reason they lost was because the defense fell apart in the fourth quarter. That was the reason. It wasn't because of Kenny Pickett. Now, they win the game with Hurts because I think it's a whole different feel of the game.
Yeah, they win the game going away, which is why I go, okay, they're going to play the Commanders at home in the playoffs. Come on. You know?
Nah, they would have done. Look, they put up, in the first quarter, this team put up 21 points, the Eagles. I mean, they could have dropped a 50-burger, like you said, against the Commanders. But just a weird game, fluky game.
All right, quick on George and Fishtown. George, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
What's up, bud?
What's up, George?
How you doing? Merry Christmas and happy holidays, everybody.
You too, buddy.
Yeah, first time, long time. I want to talk about the record with Saquon, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's got 17 games to destroy the record when, you know, Dickerson only had 16 games. It's like doing a push-up contest and one person gets a minute, next person gets 45 seconds.
So are we back to the Babe Ruth, Roger Maris thing?
You know, I think that it's not really, he's not really breaking the record, but I'm all about him getting.
Let me ask you this: do you think it's a lot harder to defend these days? A lot harder to get those kind of yards with the way the defense is, how fast they are.
Sure.
So whatever made up with the one game is fully compensated for by the fact that these defenses are mind-boggling now.
And hold on, George, I got another one for you.
Okay.
So you give Eric Dickerson credit for the record, right?
Sure.
Because he did it in 16 games.
Yeah.
The guy he beat was O.J. Simpson, who did it in 14. Do we ever talk about the fact that Eric Dickerson had more games than O.J. Simpson? In about 5 to 10 years, if Saquon has that record, no one's going to remember how many more games he played because no one talks about the fact that O.J. did it with 14 games.
Yeah, that's a pretty good point. I think there's some. I think there should be some distinctions between those as well, though.
All right, so you want to put asterisk on it, and I said apparently my point didn't do anything for him. No. It's really hard to gain 2,000 yards in this NFL.
No, it definitely is.
All right, 610-632-0975. Coming up around the NFL, Dan Campbell. Oh, we're going to feature my favorite coach in Around the NFL. That's coming up.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Losing hurts. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Coming January 25th, the biggest fighting event ever to hit Philadelphia. Knuckle Mania 5 from Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Saturday, January 25th at Wells Fargo Center. The Eagles lost 36-33 to the Commanders on Sunday, snapping their franchise record 10-game winning streak. Jalen Hurts was concussed in the first quarter on a drive that ultimately put the Eagles up 14-0. The offense did not score a touchdown after the first quarter, only put up 6 points off the defense's 4 turnovers forced in the final 3 quarters of the game. The game was littered with undisciplined moments, with penalties, some struggles on special teams. The defense ended up giving up 22 points in that fourth quarter. Ultimately, it's the Eagles' first loss in 10 games. Nick Sirianni, after the game, talking about some of the sloppy play from his team.
We'll go back to work regardless of, who played in what situation, and we'll, everybody from myself to the coaches to the players will hold ourselves accountable.
That loss ends up putting the Eagles in a really tough bind, end up getting that top spot, and also keeps them from clinching the NFC East. They'll still be able to do that next week with a win over the Cowboys, and a win in neither of their last 2 games will do that for them. Elsewhere in Philadelphia, the Phillies trade for Jesus Luzardo, adding to their starting rotation. They made that deal with the Marlins, and the 76ers have the Spurs tonight. You can listen to the game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. I'm Ray Down the home, the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic, 97.5thefanatic.com.
32, Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5 The Fanatic. It is a football Monday, and on football Monday at this time, it's time to go around the league. Something we call Around the NFL. Music Maestro. There it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's start it out with the Lions of Detroit. They got it back yesterday, and afterwards, their coach Dan Campbell said winning football games was like a drug. Jared Goff was good again. He threw for 336 and 3 TDs, including this 82-yard beauty to Jameson Williams.
Goff on first down, firing downfield for Williams. He's got it! Jameson Williams into the end zone, touchdown! 82-yard!
82 steps for Jameson Williams. The Lions beat the Bears 34-17, and while doing so, they toyed with them with a ridiculous rub-it-in sandlot trick play. Goff pretended to stumble on his dropback. His teammates yelled, "Fumble!" Jahmyr Gibbs dove on an invisible football. Psych! Goff had the ball the whole time, and he ripped a 21-yard TD pass to Sam Laporta on the play. That's just not right. Anyway, here's my man Dan Campbell after the game.
This is why you want to coach and play in this league. This is when your eyes get open. When competition is at its highest, people are breathing down your neck, or you're chasing somebody and you're at the top. And it just doesn't get any better than this. This is what it's all about. Can it get frustrating? Can it get stressful? Yeah, it gets all those, but it's also it's the drug. It's the drug, you know. This is what you live for. And look, some can't. Some can't handle this. It's too much for them. Players, coaches, teams. It's just too much. But not our group. This is the good stuff, man, and we're in the middle of it right now.
It's the drug. Billy, what's your reaction to that?
I don't know why he annoys me so much. I get so annoyed. And they're running the annexation of Puerto Rico.
Number 2. All right, meanwhile, the Vikings stayed in the number 1 seed race by outlasting the spunky Seattle Seahawks 27-24. Justin Jefferson, Jesus. 10 catches, 148, 2 touchdowns. Sam Darnold, the reborn, threw for multiple touchdowns for the 11th time this season and for more than 200 yards for the 10th time. Now, the Seahawks had just taken the lead on Geno Smith's 3rd touchdown pass. But Darnold got his Vikings into the end zone 30 seconds after that, launching a deep ball with defenders in his face, and Jefferson did what?
Off play action. Stepping up. Launching downfield. And it is caught! Twisting, turning, touchdown! Jefferson! Minnesota's back in front. The ultimate, forget it. Justin's down there somewhere throw, and Jefferson finds pay dirt.
Bam! Just like that. The Seahawks had a chance here. They were at the Minnesota 42, but it's 4th and 15 because Geno took a sack. Got to go for it there, right? No. Seahawks coach Mike McDonald decides to send out Jason Myers to attempt a 60-yarder, and it was short. All right, number 3, the Panthers showing some life at the end of this season. Carolina took out the Arizona Cardinals in overtime, 36-30. Not that this result means anything resembling importance so far as around the NFL is concerned. And Carolina's hero in this one, Chuba Hubbard. First of all, the Cardinals needed a big kick to send this game into overtime. A 58-yarder to be exact by Chad Bigfoot Ryland. Okay, that's not his nickname. I just made that up for effect. But in overtime, the Panthers got the ball back after a Cardinal punt at midfield. Hubbard rips off a 28-yard gallop, and then this.
Hubbard. Chuba Hubbard dancing into the end zone, and a Panthers victory with a touchdown in overtime.
Chuba Hubba Bubba. Sound Chuba Hubbard. All right, let's go to number 4, Michael Penix. Got his first start on Sunday, but Kirk Cousins was simply counting his money and laughing. The Falcons' first-round draft pick, very respectable. Going 18 for 27 for 202 yards. No TDs, and he was intercepted once. But the Falcons did drop 3 of his on-target passes. The Falcons, believe it or not, stayed in the hunt for a division crown with a 34-7 romp of the terrible New York Giants. I mean, Dable has to go now, right? And the Giants should finish the season with some interim. Atlanta and Penix were helped by 2 pick sixes from their defense, though. The big one, Jesse Bates, occurred early in the game when the Giants actually led 7-3.
Block intercepted! Picked off by Jesse Bates, and Bates will take
Yes, sir. Bijan Robinson fueled a rush-oriented offense. 94 yards and 22 carries as Atlanta rushed it 38 times. The Giants, meanwhile, lost their 10th straight. Ugh. And number 5, finally, I bet you're thinking, well, this has to be something about Penn State's victory Saturday over SMU in very cold weather where they just crushed the Mustangs. Nah. We're going women's volleyball, Bill. The Nittany Lions won their 8th volleyball national championship Sunday, beating Louisville 3-1 at the KFC Yum Center. That's Louisville's home court, isn't it? Jess Maruzic. Remember that name, Bill. She had 29 kills in the match. And here's the final point.
Cameron Hanna. Luca reaching for it. Cameron Hanna again. Make room in the trophy case, Penn State. You're bringing home another title. An 8th national championship for Penn State. And Katie Schumacher-Cawley becomes the first female Division I volleyball head coach to win a national title.
Give me a little more energy. Give me a little more zip for that call. It's a national championship. Get the trophy case ready for the Knits. They're going to win in wrestling, in volleyball, and maybe in football, Bill. Are you feeling the vibe?
Man, you could tell that Penn State football team hasn't won a national title in a while. Mike's getting real excited about that volleyball championship.
The Knits. Volleyball supremacy, baby.
That was cool, man. Those all these volleyball players are so impressive, man. I don't know how they do that. It looks like every single shot is going to hit the ground.
A lot of practice, man. Digs, kills.
Digs and kills.
Digs and kills.
I know a lot of people are excited about it.
Yeah,
by the way, you didn't get my
bet you they are.
You didn't get my reference about the Detroit Lions' ridiculous high school play. I called it the annexation of Puerto Rico. I don't know if you get that reference.
The annexation of Puerto Rico. Can you explain that to me?
Ray, do you know what the annexation of Puerto Rico was?
No.
The movie Little Giants.
Yeah, I didn't.
It's the play the Little Giants run.
I didn't watch that movie. I don't.
The crowd knew.
That's not a go-to.
The crowd knows.
Huh?
By the way, other big news, Mike.
What?
When we started the show, the Eagles were 8.5-point favorites. When I just checked during your Around the NFL, they're 10.5-point favorites.
So you were checking and you weren't listening? Am I Around the NFL? You're checking?
Correct.
You're scrolling?
Correct.
Is that what you were doing?
Correct. I was doing two different things. What does Vegas think Hurts is playing, I guess? 10.5 points? Or do they think that Kenny Pickett can win this game with?
It's interesting. I think they think Hurts is playing. It's got to be. All right.
Keep the main thing the main thing.
Yeah, it's a wild line.
You see, how can you tell he has a concussion? They probably asked him, and he said, keep the main thing the main thing. How you feeling, Jalen? Keep the main thing the main. You can't tell if he's got a concussion.
Probably said, it's the funny thing that makes me chuckle.
Yeah, there you go. That's the funny thing.
That's the funny thing that makes me chuckle.
Now, he said that lucid, right? But they got, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. All right. Let's go to Mitch.
Now, let's hope he's okay.
Let's go to Mitch in Phoenix. Mitch, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Mitch. Is this our lucky day?
Hello.
Is this an empty telephone line from Mitch in Phoenix?
Hello.
Mitchy Poo.
I'll tell you what, we'll put him on hold.
Hold on. Speaking of like our recurring callers, driving to my daughter's play on Friday when you had Johnny Clark in, you went to Greg from Bethlehem again.
Yeah.
It was funny radio, though, listening to you explain to John Clark the Mad Elf references and everything.
Yeah.
Very good radio.
He was Mad Elf again, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
He usually calls in around this time, so we'll see.
We got to get up to Trogs and get ourselves some Mad Elves.
Yeah, that's a 11 point something, almost 12% alcohol. How much is a glass of wine?
I don't know. You're the Briganti by the Bay guy.
I'm just asking. What do you think?
I wouldn't know.
14.
Really?
Yeah, it's around 14%.
So I guess it's not that crazy to have a Mad Elf. I mean, I know people who have a couple glasses of wine. I mean, not at 11 o'clock on a Tuesday.
Well, he has had multi Mad Elves. Like,
yeah.
If you had 2 glasses of wine, how would you sound?
Yeah, I'd be a little slurred maybe, especially at 11 a.m.
Right. All right, let's go to Frank in Westchester. Frank, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Frank.
Hey, happy holidays.
What's up, Frankie?
Everybody. I'm going to go with Bill here in a lot of different ways, where I think that, I do agree that the Carolina game kind of like reset the offense. And I think that this loss, and I call it a fluke loss, I agree with everybody here, like, our defense will reset here. The fact that we gave up 22 points in the fourth quarter was not our defense. And I think that this is a reckoning, like a moment of clarity where, hopefully they reset. And I'm not mad. I mean, I don't like this loss. I don't think that Kenny Pickett cost us this loss. Jalen Hurts is playing, we win that game. But I do think it's like a good reset as well. You're riding on this wave of being the number one defense, and then you kind of get put back in a situation where you got to reevaluate. And I think this will be good for everything from Vic on down to resetting.
Vic
Fangio.
Because I got Michael Vick on my mind, the new head coach of Norfolk State.
No.
Oh, okay.
And I have one admission. I have to make as well.
Uh-huh.
I'm not Frank in Westchester. This is Chuck in New York.
Oh, it's Chuck. It's Chuck.
I was denied because I asked if it was going to be a long wait, and the gentleman told me, "You're not going to be on today, then, Chuck." So it's Chuck in New York. I love you guys. Have a great holiday.
Wait. The call screener said because he was Chuck from New York, he couldn't come on?
No, I think the call screener said because he was complaining it was going to be a long wait, that he wasn't going to let him on.
Oh.
I don't know. We'll talk to, who is it? Brendan back there? Brandon?
So then he called back as Frank from Westchester.
Yeah.
That's sneaky.
It's sneaky, but
misrepresentation to our call screen.
So our call screener just put on the board, Chuck was giving me attitude.
Was giving me attitude, so he called back as Frank from Westchester.
I didn't know we had
a trick. He found a loophole.
Yeah, but I didn't know Brandon was that harsh back there, not letting people on for giving him attitude. In fact, I remember my grandmom saying that Brandon wasn't going to let her on at
Brandon's tough screener, man.
He got to be tough to get through there.
He's the gatekeeper.
I don't mind a tough screener.
Still let Mitch through, but,
The gatekeeper. Yeah, he did let Mitch through, and then Mitch wasn't even there. So come on, Brandon. Get your stuff together back there.
All right, so we got a couple open lines now. 610-632-0975 is how you get in. Is the text board humming, Ray? What we got on the text board today?
Text board's always humming, Mike. We always got people that want to check in with us. And it is a day where I think a lot of people have decided that they don't actually care that the loss happened, which is a surprise for me because I've seen way more people positive about this. But we do have a lot of people checking in on the idea about Saquon going for the record in Week 18. Jason from Whitehall. You're out of your mind if you say don't let him try for the record. I grew up a block away from him. He's always been the most humble and great person always. You play this game to be great, and a record like this is magnificent for him and the organization.
Whitehall High School. That's where he went, right? Isn't that where he went? Did Saquon go to Whitehall High School?
I'll look it up. I think you're right.
Grew up right down the street in Whitehall.
One of our local Lions fans also checking in here. Alfie from Abington. The slander on Dan Campbell is ludicrous. Let Bill know. If the Lions and Eagles face off, I want Bill to wear a 3XL size Lions t-shirt while giving an apology to Dan. Shall the Lions edge out a trip to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I'm not sure what I'd have a bigger problem with, the Lions or the triple XL.
Definitely the triple.
Alfie from Abington has been a long-time caller of mine. I never knew he was the Lions fan.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe he's not. Maybe he's just mad that I hate on Campbell so much.
It's a drug, man.
It's a drug.
It's a drug, man. Football, winning, this whole process is a drug.
But let me ask you, this is professional football, okay?
You get high off a drug.
I'm okay with a trick play. The flea flicker, maybe the backwards pass, double pass, things like that. I think that in a professional sport, pretending to fall down and then having your running back fall down and almost like a fumble-rooski type thing, I don't like that in professional sports.
Reed talks about it on a commercial, fumble-rooski. You got a problem with that?
I think in professional sports, there shouldn't be plays. But there shouldn't be plays where, and there is a rule, and I don't know the language of it, but there is a rule where you're not allowed to try to intentionally trick someone, like have a guy.
It's like a balk.
Yeah, have a guy pretending to go off to the sidelines, but then he doesn't. Remember they would used to do stuff like that where they look like they're talking to the coach, but they're really on the game. Like that stuff I don't think belongs in professional sports.
I used to do it all right, because we used to do this play all the time in baseball. Catcher throws it to get a guy out stealing. The infielders jump like it's over their head, and they turn and run towards center field. the runner who hasn't seen the play has slid in the second safe, but then he sees the reaction of the infielders that the ball's in center field. He takes off and goes to third base. The second baseman, me, has the ball in his hands.
Yes.
It says, sap. You got a problem with that?
I don't. So maybe
you don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, maybe I am. Maybe my hatred for Dan Campbell is clouding my judgment here. I just don't like. I want you to win a game based off of skill, not trying to trick
Did
people.
you have a problem with the Philly special?
No, because it's a play.
Oh, it's a play?
I don't know. To me, it's like Jared Goff pretending to fall, the running back intentionally falling. It just seems like it crosses a line. I know it's not illegal.
It crosses a line if I was the other team. Like, I would punish somebody if somebody tried to do that to me. Now, the Bears had a chance to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know what their coach's reaction was to it, but it is kind of Bush League when you talk about humiliating the other team by doing something like that.
Yeah, it's a little bit humiliating.
If Sirianni came up with it.
Right,
Yeah, but the problem
what a call!
they used it up against the Bears. Like, if you have that in your playbook.
Yeah, why not save it for the playoffs?
Exactly.
But could you imagine in a playoff game if that was the play that was a deciding factor in you losing? It's not like the Philly special. The Philly special is different. It's a designed play where the quarterback runs out and runs a route. And, yeah, that's technically a trick play. But this, it's crossing the line when you're pretending to fall, when you're pretending the ball's been fumbled. Like, that whole thing, it's just not professional.
Let me give you a question here. On your hate scale, who do you hate more? Campbell or Bin Laden?
I would probably say Bin Laden.
Jesus.
Way to draw that out.
You hate this guy, man. I don't know what it is about this guy that rubs you that way.
I don't know.
I
It's
like
his whole
the
thing.
texter's suggestion that there was a meathead competition at some gym, and Dan Campbell won it over Bill, and that was what
it must
caused
be
it.
something like that.
I don't know. But it would be nice. Like, my dream scenario, NFC Championship game, Eagles-Lions, and the Eagles win because Dan Campbell makes another dumb decision. That may be the happiest I could be. Eagles go to the Super Bowl, and Dan Campbell is the reason why?
Did Dan Campbell take all of your steroids or something? Like, what happened?
I've always been natural.
What happened?
I've always been natural. I can't say the same about Dan.
Did he rob your mailbox? Like, what?
The week that the NFC Championship game happens, there's a chance that you are going to welcome a child into this world. Would Dan Campbell making a season-ending mistake be the biggest joy brought to you that week?
No, my wife's listening. No, definitely
Okay.
the birth of
That's
my
the answer
daughter.
we were looking for when it says, my wife's listening.
Look, I'm obviously playing up the shtick of how much I dislike Dan Campbell.
No, you're not. You
but
hate him.
I don't think he's that good of a coach. I just don't look, he's a great motivator, and I know that's a part of it. But as a head coach in the NFL, I don't think he will ever win a Super Bowl. He makes too many boneheaded decisions.
So the number one seed in the NFC is not going to be enough for you to say, he's done a pretty good job.
We'll see what he does in the playoffs.
All right. 610-632-0975. Coming up, the news at noon. Ray Dunn off a red eye, all goofy and just played out and constipated. Well, constipated? We'll now give the news at noon after this.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Losing hurts. I'm Ray Dunn. This update's brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know you can save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate. The Eagles lost 36-33 to the Commanders on Sunday, snapping their franchise record 10-game winning streak. Jalen Hurts was concussed in the first quarter on a drive that ultimately ended up putting the Eagles up 14-0. The Eagles did not score a touchdown on offense after the first quarter and only put up 6 points off the defense's 4 turnovers that were forced in the final 3 quarters of the game. The game was littered with undisciplined moments, penalties, disappointing fourth quarter defensive performance. They allowed 22 points, including a last-minute drive that gave the Commanders the lead for good. Here's Nick Sirianni talking about his team's effort in the game.
We'll go back to work regardless of, who played in what situation, and we'll, everybody from myself to the coaches to the players will hold ourselves accountable.
The loss likely drops the Eagles out of any top seed conversations, also put off clinching the NFC East for another week. Elsewhere in Philadelphia, the Phillies trade for Jesus Luzardo of the Marlins over the weekend, and the 76ers have the Spurs tonight. You can listen to the game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. I'm Ray Donovan, the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
on the Mike Missanelli Show. 12 o'clock hour is brought to us by Service First Heating and Air Conditioning. Get 0% financing for 72 months, $500 rebate when you purchase a complete heating and cooling system from Service First. Learn more at ServiceFirstHVAC.com. Well, at 12 o'clock every day, we do a little something we call the news at noon.
There's a whole lot going on in this world. It's time to catch up. Here's the news at noon. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
The news at noon, courtesy of one Ray Dunn, who's on a 3-hour sleep jag, but he's pushing through today. Let's see what we have today, Ray.
I'll be honest, I kind of forgot what I put in for the news at noon until I just looked at the script here. So let's get to the news at noon. Let's start up in New York. The Jets. Oh, how terrible it is. Only 9 points against the Rams. They lose again. Remember last year when Rodgers tore his Achilles and that was as bad as it could get for them? Oh, it got so much worse this season. So sad to see. And now it seems like his young star wide receiver is upset. Garrett Wilson took what people are perceiving as a jab at Aaron Rodgers. That is, if Aaron Rodgers can take a jab.
You were not involved much until late in the fourth quarter. Why was it?
I don't know, to be honest with you, man. I don't know. I just got to go out and put my best foot forward and hope that things fall my way. You know, I would love to be involved, love to make an impact on the game, but people see it differently than, that's out of my control. So just try and do what I can do.
Out of his control.
Out of his control. Whose control would it be in?
I don't know. Is he blaming the offensive coordinator, the head coach, or the quarterback? Is he blaming the venerable Hall of Fame quarterback, Aaron Rodgers?
That's the way some Jets fans I saw perceiving it.
Oh, boy.
It would be a shame if they just chased Garrett Wilson out of there and turned everything over to the Rodgers and Adams show.
Yeah.
Real unfortunate.
I continued to watch that documentary against my better judgment. And I got to the point. It's actually 3 episodes, Bill. I told you.
I know. I saw that on Saturday.
And I got to the part where he's doing the Native American thing with the burning sage, and he's in a tent for like 2.5 hours in a certain position. And then the hot rocks they put in there, and I don't know what the hell he was doing.
Oh, it's not helping his play, that's for sure.
He's something else. All right, next.
All right, let's keep it with football. And Mike, your favorite announcer had a bit of a snafu. That would be one, Mark Sanchez. Mark Sanchez wanted a little bit of officiating insight on what was a close call for a first down. So he called out for a rules analyst. Only that analyst doesn't work for his network.
Not by much. Maybe by an index card. That's a first down.
First Kate's territory.
I'll take Pereira and Blandino.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
We respect all networks, sir. You know that. You know that.
You idiot. I can't stand that guy. And it's not because he was a lousy quarterback here. It's not because he was a joke with the butt fumble. It's not even the fact that he crushed Penn State in a Rose Bowl many years back. As an announcer, he stinks.
Wow. I would agree with you. I don't think he's that great. But I think Philadelphia fans are a little angrier at Greg Olsen and Joe Davis than they are Mark Sanchez today. I saw a lot of heat.
They were all against us. The announcers are against us every week.
Yeah, they were against them for sure. But so wait, who does Serator work for? What networks?
CBS.
And that was on the Fox broadcast?
Yep.
Ooh.
Great job. Great catch there.
Idiot.
I mean, doing a great job to carry him week in and week out there. I like Blandino and Pereira.
I mean, Blandino, his picture's in a window box, for crying out loud. All I got to do is look at the screen. All right. Anyway, what's number 3?
All right. Finally, I'm going to take you away from football. We usually stay to football here on Mondays. But, hey, Charlie Woods played in the PNC Championship this weekend and had this happen.
Really good contact. This is a great-looking shot if it's the right number.
Oh, it is the right number. Charlie Woods has made an ace at the 4th. And guess what? His father was actually not watching. He had to take a break for a second, comes back out. Here's the roar of the crowd. And Charlie Woods has made an ace here at the PNC Championship.
Yeah, another loss for his pop, though, in the tournament.
Who would they come in second?
As the Longers won it again for the second straight year. After did Tiger actually say that this was Charlie's first hole-in-one? I found that hard to believe. The kid's been playing golf for a while now. He's never had a hole-in-one?
Apparently not.
Yeah, that was his first one ever.
Ever?
Man. Yeah. Well, look, even when you're really good at golf, there's some luck involved in a hole-in-one.
Well, of course there is, but maybe how many rounds do you think this kid's played already?
Yeah, he's probably played a ton. But what better way to get your first hole-in-one than in a tournament with your dad on TV?
With the sister caddying.
It's pretty cool,
it's
man.
It's a cute moment.
You ever had one? Hole-in-one?
I've never had one.
Me either, man.
As many rounds as I've played, I can't get one.
The worst thing for me is the closest I've ever come, I then missed the birdie putt and ended up parring the hole.
Well, how close did you come?
I was like a foot away.
They didn't give you that?
It was a tournament, so I had to finish it, and I missed. I won closest to the pin.
Choker. Man.
I won closest to the pin. I'm like, I don't know if I should accept the closest to the pin award.
Lock that up, dude.
Hey, it's a tap-in, man. I know. Trust me. I wasn't happy.
Did you get jelly hands?
It ripped. I think I hit it a little hard. I Dan Campbelled it. A little too much of a meathead putt. Rimmed it around.
Oh, you're trying to
your own failures, and you're going to bring up Dan Campbell.
It's a Dan Campbell putt.
Yeah. Charlie Wood said he's responsible for buying some drinks there, no?
Yeah, but I don't think he's 21. Can he still be on the hook?
Well, he can buy them. You have to drink them.
Yeah, this is why you have a hole-in-one insurance at the club.
I bet your Pops, who's incredibly stingy from what I'm told, probably didn't pick up the tab.
Yeah. But that's one when I got into golf, that was one thing that surprised me, that when you get the hole-in-one, you're responsible for buying everybody else rounds at the bar.
Well, what else would be like? They're responsible for buying you?
Yeah.
Like you
should be the other way
you
around.
want 100 drinks? Like it's not feasible for you to. Like,
no, but it should be the other way around. You should be celebrating.
It's such a monumental occasion that it's almost like you popping a champagne cork and buying Cristal. That's what it is supposed to be.
But it can get pricey.
It can get pricey. But you have insurance.
Yeah, up to a certain amount.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. That's the news and news.
Good job, Ray. Even coming in the red eye, Ray delivers.
And being constipated.
Ray always delivers.
Yep. All right. Let's go to Dre in West Philly. Dre, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Dre.
Hey, what's going on, Mike?
What's up, Dre? How you doing?
Hey, I want to talk about the game, man. To me, it seemed was shaky. And the reason why I say it was shaky, which, Mike, I know you're going to disagree with me. You're probably going to be like, oh, he's a conspiracy theorist or whatever. But I don't know if it was you guys or if it was the greatest show ever, that it was reported that something about some computer AI-generated stuff that we was going to lose the next two games.
Yeah, it was our show. It was a projection. Yeah, it was a computer projection.
Exactly, and it's mighty convenient that Jalen gets hurt and he has to go out the game, even though he wanted to play again, and it wasn't really up to him prior order NFL for him, to have to be out the game. But I just feel as though, man, I'm letting all the fans know we're going to lose the next game because they basically told us. They basically told us this.
The Eagles are a monster favorite in that game, right? So that computer.
Yeah, I hear that, but seeing how this went down or whatever, because when y'all first reported that, I was just like,
but the computer has nothing to do with the NFL. It's just like ESPN putting data in a computer. And
Mike, come on, but
the computer doesn't know the dynamic of the backup quarterback, and
I know that. I know.
Yeah,
that.
so it's kind of a bogus number when you think about it. It said they're going to lose 14-10, by the way. So we totally disregarded that.
Nah, I think it's much more deeper than that, man. It's with It's with this gambling stuff that's going on. And all this, man. Like, for real, man.
All right, then if it's gambling, then you should make some money because you should take Dallas plus the 10 or whatever the line is.
I'm not listening, man.
Make it easy for you to win.
Mike, hold on,
if you think it's rigged,
that is blasphemy. I will never.
Well, but you said it's rigged, so make some money off the rig.
No, I can't. I don't even want that. That's bad money to me. I don't even care.
It's dirty money, Dre.
It's blood money.
Yeah, we don't need that money.
No, listen. I don't know. I can't get into the mind of a computer. I don't know why it spit out that result.
But Dre isn't the first person. Like, I saw it all over Twitter that this was the NFL. They clearly didn't want Jalen Hurts to play in this game. the script said the Eagles were supposed to lose. You know, that whole thing.
Come on, man.
And
It's just you're saying this game's fixed.
no, I'm telling you what I saw on Twitter. I'm not buying any of that. And the people saying that Hurts wanted to go back in, you got to understand that with the more information that we know about head injuries, this is why they put the independent spotter in. That's why Jalen Hurts had to come off the field, because someone saw that he hit his head on the ground. And then when they do the concussion test, doesn't matter if Jalen says, I'm good. If he doesn't pass the concussion test, he can't come back in.
That's correct. 610-632-0975. First time all day, we got a breather. So you can get in. If you've been wanting to call the show and the lines are busy, we've had a lot of activity. Now's a good time to do it at 610-632-0975. What did that loss mean to you? My sense is that most people can just push it away. And that's very interesting. Mike Missanelli Show continues after this.
Happy holidays from the Fanatic family to you.
everybody. Can we hear it? Here it comes, Bill. It's like disco light bulb flashing around. Remember those days, Bill? Were you in the disco?
Nah, not really, because that's more like 70s, right? I mean, when I was going out.
Late 70s. Yeah, it was like the Donna Summer era.
And I've never been to Boogie Nights down the shore, which is like the throwback, right?
There was a wrestling match between disco when it came in and then hardcore rockers. The hardcore rockers resented the disco movement. And then Travolta came along, and then it came cool a little bit.
Yeah, see, when I'm growing up, it's more, you had the 90s grunge, right, where it's all like, come as you were. Like real, like,
I would
sad.
tell you something. A lot of good music in the early 90s onward.
There was.
That was Oasis. That was Third Eye Blind. So
I was more of a rap guy back then.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I liked hip-hop and the rap.
Kool Moe D and Fat Joe and Big Daddy Kane was my favorite. Big Daddy Kane.
Yeah, then when I hit like the 2000s, so it's like Eminem and 50 Cent and all that. Obviously Dre and Snoop and all those. Like, I loved the Super Bowl show, halftime show a couple years ago when they had Snoop and Dre and 50. Like, that was incredible.
Look at you, man. 50.
Yeah. Well, like,
they're boys.
Let me ask you a question. Because you're a white dude, are you afraid to say 50?
I mean, I could say 50.
See, when white dudes say 50, it's almost like a violation.
Yeah, you're like corny. You're a little cheesy.
Exactly.
I feel like I got some street cred.
Yeah, there you go. But no disco.
I would say no.
No disco.
Oh, man, I had that Donna Summer double album.
Wait, what did she?
It was a double album back then, and I forget when that was released, but it was banging.
Wait, did you ever go to
Arthur Park?
I could see you at Studio 54 back in the day.
I did a couple of those clubs in New York.
Yeah, they were wild scenes
in the day. It was pretty wild scene.
I used to do the. This is how crazy things have changed, though. I remember when I was growing up, like Club Egypt, like 17 to party, 21 to drink. Like, could you imagine what the hell are 17-year-olds doing with 21-year-olds at a club?
There was a great rock club in Manhattan called the China Club. I don't know if the China Club still exists, but that used to be the place where rockers would just show up. So I'm in there one night because I had friends that were in a band that were trying to get signed, and that was their record company audition performance party. And so I go in there, they perform early in the night, and then like the rockers. Guess who walks in? Carlos Santana.
No way.
Yeah, Carlos Santana walks in. I grabbed the chord and started jamming with
That's
the band.
pretty cool.
Yeah,
man.
it was cool.
That is really cool.
All right, let's go to Alfie on a cell. Alfie, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Alfie.
You, Mike, Ray, Bill, first, happy holidays, Merry Christmas to you and your families. I hope it's going to be a good one for all.
You too, Alfie. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thanks. So I know you know why I'm calling in. I need to set Mr. Muscle straight. I don't get it. I really don't. I mean, I do, but I don't. The man's a tight end. You're a tight end. You guys wear size XL, extra medium shirts and just be looking jacked. This should be like your idol right now. But he has nothing to do with your team. You just hate on this man.
I know.
For whatever reason.
Yeah, he's jealous. He doesn't have the veins.
I used to have
Campbell has the veins. Bill didn't have them anymore.
I used to have the veins. You know what I think it is, Alfie?
He used to have.
Yeah, I used to rock.
I used to have them.
I used to be shredded to the core, dude. But you know what it is, Alfie? What bothers me about him is that I've seen him time and time again take the aggressiveness and cross that line into recklessness, and it comes and it hurts his football team. And the fact that he still isn't learning from it, and even up until last week, doing the onside kick.
They're supposed to be undefeated? Oh, I'm sorry. They're supposed to be.
But they're losing.
Apparently, they're supposed to be undefeated.
No, they're losing.
He's such a bonehead. They only have 2 losses.
They're losing important games because of his decisions. But, Alfie, I will admit, I hate on him probably a little too much. I agree.
Yeah, and I know you do mostly in jest, but it's just like I really called to explain the play what happened at Rosenberry annexation of Puerto Rico. Like it just gets to a point where I feel like you're White Goodman off a dodgeball hating on Chuck Norris. But real quick, and I know the importance of it because today's usually just the Eagles autopsy day, and I apologize, I know radio etiquette. I actually found the tweet. The reason why that play worked and they did it against Chicago is because the same thing happened when Green Bay played Chicago, but it was actually a bot snap. So it's just Ben Johnson he needs to be in a straitjacket.
Listen, I don't really have a problem with it, except if I was the Bears, I would. But Alfie, why would you unveil that in a game like that?
I sent you the tweet because it works against Chicago. They fell for the same thing against Green Bay.
All right, but why do you need it against Chicago? You're beating their brains in anyway.
Well, if it works against them, well, it's probably a smarter defense, a la against Vic Fangio's. They might be a little bit more disciplined. You know what I'm saying?
Well, maybe they would be, but you never know until you try it. Like, that's the ultimate surprise play, right? If you once you put it on tape, it's over.
Yeah, I'm looking at the tweet he sent us. It is. It's basically exactly what they did against Green Bay. And then I saw something earlier where Jared Goff said Ben Davis asked him, can you intentionally fumble the football? And then they kind of reeled it in. But you're right. Why not save that for a big moment in the playoffs?
Wait, did you need that to beat Chicago? I don't know. Did you? Like, so what's the point?
Yeah, what was the score of the game,
to beat Chicago, then I get it. But you didn't need them to beat Chicago at that point.
It was a 27-14 game. There was 12 minutes left in the third. I guess that was the nail in the coffin right there.
Yeah, I get it. But all right, Tom's calling from Alabama. Oh, Tom. Tom.
Yo, gentlemen. Yo, Bill, real quick. Hey, I promise you, I give you my word. When I got on hold, I just thought about this. It just come in my head. I don't know why. Remember before the season, a guy called you from California, wanted Kenny Pickett in there?
Yes, I do remember that.
Well, hey, he got his wish, and it goes to show you that whoever thought that Hurts, that offense can run without him, they'd be drastically wrong. And now he makes the mistake. He should have slid yesterday. That was just, if he would have been stayed in there, we'd have lapped them. We'd have ran them up. And, I hope we see them again because it's going to be different. And, man, I'll tell you, I hate to bitch about the referee. Everything was bad. The telecast, everything was bad. You could blame every part of the phase of the offense, defense, special teams and all. But, without Hurts, man, we're in trouble.
Well, obviously.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're right, Tom.
Yeah, so much what they do is based on his legs and RPOs and all that kind of stuff. They're just bland without him.
The thing about it, though, is, hey, we got a little adversity here. This is Sirianni's deal. Let's channel it and move it to a positive. And maybe in the end it'll turn out it's good that they woke up here and saw, some flaws here. Everybody got beat, even Mitchell yesterday.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Mitchell threw up his hands, too. Like, he beat me.
Yeah, you haven't seen him. You haven't seen him play like. I went back and watched the replay too of it, and it's just very uncharacteristic of the way Quenya Mitchell usually plays. The way even the way he opened up his hips, all those things just didn't look right. But Tom could be right. This could result in them refocusing, coming out stronger.
Oh, I definitely think it will. And I mean, that's the one thing I liked about it.
And the benefit is
the feature. It's hard to win 17.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The benefit is they don't have to win 17. They may be able to.
Yeah, Ray's poo-pooing that.
Yeah, Ray didn't like that.
Ray didn't like that.
That a loss could be good. It's hard, man. How many teams? I got to look it up. But how many teams in NFL history have won 17 straight games on their way to win a Super Bowl?
It happened now. I don't want the justification being winning 17 straight games that this was good.
Yeah, but hold on. Keith Richardson on our YouTube has a theory on why I hate Dan Campbell, and I got to admit this could be partially correct. It says Bill hates on Campbell because Campbell gets the respect Bill thinks Sirianni deserves. Nick will get it eventually, but Campbell getting it drives Bill crazy with jealousy.
I don't think Campbell gets it. I think everybody knows what Campbell is.
Campbell's in the conversation for Coach of the Year all the time.
Everybody knows he's an overly macho kind of, bobo.
It just bothers me, and this is where Keith is somewhat accurate, that we give Dan Campbell all this credit, and he literally has two of the best coordinators in the NFL, has a great talented roster, and yet that gets used against Sirianni constantly. But Dan Campbell gets put on a pedestal.
I didn't criticize Sirianni. I saw where the coaching staff, one of the reporters gave him a D. Could the coaching staff a D?
Well, I think when your team, and Sirianni said as such after the game, when your team comes out, commits that many penalties, and plays that sloppy, yeah, a lot of it was injury related, but it's on the head coach. And
all right.
Sirianni took responsibility, as he should.
Is he talking today?
I think he's coming on this afternoon.
3:15.
3:15 today. Right.
And then I don't know what the schedule is the rest of the week for us because of Christmas. I guess we'll have him on Thursday, maybe.
Well, he can call in and select a Christmas song. Which on the other side, I'm going to give you an update on what we're doing tomorrow. Football Mondays, brought to you by Pierce Phelps Bryant Heating and Air Conditioning. Visit nopaybryant.com. The Mike Missanelli Show's on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Losing hurts. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by PayPal. Get exclusive cashback offers in the app and with the PayPal debit card. Stack 5% more in your chosen monthly category on up to $1,000 in purchases. Don't just pay. PayPal. The Eagles lost 36-33 to the Commanders on Sunday, snapping their franchise record at 10-game winning streak. Jalen Hurts was concussed in the first quarter on a drive that ultimately put the Eagles up 14-0. The offense did not score a touchdown after the first quarter and only put up 6 points off the defense's final 4 turnovers that were forced in the final 3 quarters of the game. The game was littered with undisciplined penalties, poor special teams, a disappointing fourth quarter outing from the defense where they allowed 22 points, including the last-minute drive that allowed the Commanders to go ahead for good. All in all, a lot to work on. Nick Sirianni addressed that after the game.
We'll go back to work regardless of, who played in what situation, and we'll, everybody from myself to the coaches to the players will hold ourselves accountable.
The loss likely has the Eagles out of any top seed discussions, but also kept the Eagles from clinching the NFC East over the weekend. They'll have an opportunity to do that again against the Cowboys next weekend. Elsewhere in Philadelphia sports, the Phillies trade for Jesus Luzardo from the Marlins, bolstering that starting rotation. And tonight, the 76ers have the Spurs. You can listen to that game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com. I'm Ray Dunn on the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
never listen to me. This is for people that don't know that I instituted many years ago a contest sort of based on the NCAA basketball tournament field of 64, which is now 68 and probably going to expand, where I would stack up, I don't know, entities like candies or cereal or like goofy stuff. And there's a backdrop to this story, right? The reason why I stopped doing it after a while is because people were ripping it off.
Yeah.
They're ripping off the idea. One day I'm listening to Colin Cowherd. He's doing a field of 64. I go, what the hell? And then it dawned on me that his producer was the guy that produced my show back in the day.
So they straight up stole it.
So I called him. I go, dude, did you just steal this without giving me any credit at all? And he sent back a ha type situation. So I go,
they didn't deny
whatever.
it.
I put it out in space and everybody can use it. But so tomorrow on Christmas Eve, it's a special Christmas Eve show. So what I did was I kind of tried to seed like the top 32 Christmas songs, and I put them in sort of a bracket. So it's not a 1 versus 16, it's a 1 versus 8. And then it's a 2 versus 7, 4 versus 5, which is next, and then 3 versus 6, just to keep it simple and to make it brief and so we can move on. So we're gonna stack these up, and we're going to play the sound. We're going to play a little of the song.
And then the caller will choose the winner.
Like, for instance, if you can imagine a bracket that starts in the upper left.
Okay.
Like the upper left bracket, the number 1 seed would be All I Want for Christmas by Mariah Carey versus the 8 seed Little Saint Nick by the Beach Boys. The 4 would be It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas by Michael Bublé versus Oh Holy Night by Celine Dion. Now, that's a tough one.
Yeah, these are going to be hard.
That's a 4-5. And then it's Frosty the Snowman by the Ronettes, a classic, versus 6, Merry Christmas Darling by the Carpenters. And then to round out that bracket, Winter Wonderland Tony Bennett versus Jingle Bell, Jingle Bell, Jingle Bell Rock.
Another classic.
By Bobby Helms.
A lot of classics.
Right,
It's going to be hard, man.
You have all these like artists that either they're classic or they're a modern spin. Like I used Deck the Halls by Nat King Cole as the 4 seed in the next bracket versus the 5 seed Wonderful Christmas Time by Paul McCartney.
Now, are these only Christmas songs, meaning Adam Sandler's The Hanukkah Song
not Hanukkah song
in
is
contention?
not in the field.
All right, this is Christmas songs only tomorrow.
Correct. And the 3 seed in that bracket would be Blue Christmas Without You.
Elvis.
By Elvis.
Yeah, that's a good one. Ray, these are some good ones, Ray.
So we should have some fun tomorrow. All right, speaking of fun, C.J. Gardner-Johnson is a hoot.
Yeah,
First of all,
he's a character.
The guy is like, sometimes I think he's 15. So he gets thrown out of the game. Now, I know there's a lot of outrage. Oh, what did you say? Well, if you look at the rule, by the rule, they could throw you out for taunting and bad abusive language that they think incites a confrontation. So he got one 15-yard penalty to do it. And then he comes back later in the game, does the same thing, and he gets tossed. So he goes in the locker room and has an Instagram Live to F-bomb the officials.
Yeah, going Instagram Live from the locker room in the middle of the game.
Now, we would play it, except that there's like 20 F-bombs in it.
In about a 15-second clip.
Exactly.
So you would just hear a bleep the whole time.
Right.
But, yeah, he's got to calm down. I love the energy and the aggression that he brings to this defense, that chip on his shoulder type of style, which I do think they were lacking last year. Like, you remember when the 49ers came in here after Deebo Samuel had been talking trash for an entire year, nobody smacked him in the mouth. I think Chauncey Gardner-Johnson would have been that type of guy to get in Deebo Samuel's face, but there's a fine line.
Where did he go to college? Did he go to Florida? Is he a Florida guy? He must have been
he was born in Florida.
Nightmare to coach in college.
Where did he go to?
I think he was a Gator.
I'm looking now. Yeah, Florida. Good call. 4th round draft pick out of Florida.
Imagine trying to coach him in college.
Yeah, it probably wasn't easy.
All right. The text board. Uncle Frank has checked in. He has a theory on Mitch, who actually is on hold now. Like Mitch comes and he goes, right? So what's Uncle Frank's theory on Mitch?
Uncle Frank's theory on Mitch is something I have to distance myself from on this one, because his theory is that I am muting Mitch from Phoenix every time that we pick up the phone, and trying to silence Mitch from Phoenix. I am not doing that. Mitch just happens to not be anywhere near his phone when he tends to call in.
Yeah, I don't understand. He's on hold, and I don't know whatever he's doing, and we get to him, and there's nobody on the telephone line.
I think he trolls us a little bit. I think he likes it.
He might. All right, let's go to Idaho. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Let's go to Sam in Idaho. What's up, Sammy?
Hey, Mike.
How are you?
Happy holidays, Happy New Year, all that good stuff. I'm an Eagles season ticket holder. I live in Boise, Idaho, so we're talking both my teams.
Wait a minute.
Eagles,
do you commute for the games?
Nah.
Oh, okay.
No, I actually haven't been to a game in about 4 years, unfortunately.
Okay.
But I reserve the right to come back at any time and do that.
Sounds good.
But the fact is, I heard some Penn State talk earlier. I get the excitement about volleyball. We're pretty excited here because our home team are the Broncos, and we think there's a good shot at winning the Fiesta Bowl. But I get the whole, like, with the Eagles, you can't win 17 in a row and all. Yeah, that's fine. But the defense has nothing to do with Kenny Pickett playing quarterback. The defense just, sloppy, looked like a different team. I didn't get to watch the game, so it wasn't broadcast here. I caught up on some of it. What's your take on the D?
I think it's going to be fine. I think they were fragmented a little bit yesterday. I think they were undisciplined. We were lauding this defense for like weeks, right? So I'm not going to overreact to the one situation where they got bounced in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I hear you. You just want to see. It's not. We went through games where the offense would show up and the defense wouldn't. Then the defense would show up and the offense wouldn't. Today, or yesterday rather, it was inept on both sides of the ball.
They've been pretty consistent, though. I mean, their defense has been pretty. They were the number one ranked defense in the league. Now, I don't know what happened to them yesterday. I just think they got pulled apart a little bit. They lost their focus a little bit. That happens during the course of a year. But like I say, I don't think it matters one bit. I still think they're the best team in the NFC.
I agree, and I think they're going to bounce back big. But on the college ball thing, your Nittany Lions took away the ball from FMU a bunch of times. I don't think the Broncos are going to give it up that much, and I think the last spread was 10. I'm not sure it's going to be that fat.
Do you think Boise State's going to beat Penn State in the Fiesta Bowl?
I think it's going to be a tighter game, and I think you got a running back to contend with on this side. Plus, Boise State doesn't give up the ball like SMU did.
The only chance Boise State has if you put all 22 guys, 11 on offense level, you let them wear blue sunglasses so they feel at home.
That's right.
Yeah, tell them to wear blue sunglasses. Yeah, there'll be a green field, but they'll see blue to make them feel at home. They're going to get crushed, Sam. Your squad crushed.
Man, it wasn't on my bingo card that a Boise State fan was going to call in today, but we'll take it. And an Eagles season ticket holder.
Like Penn State doesn't know Ashton Genty's going to get the ball? Come on.
Nah, Penn State's going to win that game.
Come on now.
But
now, it's going to come to an abrupt halt for Penn State, so I'm not conned into thinking they could actually win a national championship.
Now, come on.
He's protecting himself.
No,
he's doing exactly what he doesn't like when Philly fans do.
Listen,
you're protecting yourself.
I see everything pragmatically. Penn State doesn't have enough receivers to beat a really good team. They just don't. They don't have enough dynamic receivers. They've got the tight end, and then they're like up and down. They don't have anybody reliable that can catch the football from this kid.
Wait, when is the game? When do they play Boise State?
Tuesday, New Year's Eve.
Got to let yourself believe a little bit here, Mike.
Oh, they'll beat Boise State.
Right.
But in the next round,
they could get Notre Dame.
Well, and they can get Georgia. I think they can beat Georgia because of the quarterback problem. Notre Dame's pretty good. I would shock me if they lose to Notre Dame in the Final Four.
Oh, come on.
But let's face it. At the end of the day, they're going to have to play Ohio State or Oregon. Both of those teams are more powerful than Penn State. So I don't think they win a national championship.
Wait, that would be the national title game.
Yeah.
So if they beat Boise State, then they play the winner of Georgia and Notre Dame. Notre Dame's a 2.5-point dog against Georgia.
That's good respect for Georgia.
Yeah, Notre Dame plus 2.5. It's interesting. I'm with Ray, though. I'm really rooting for Notre Dame, Penn State, because I don't have a rooting interest, but it would be fun to watch all the people in this area.
Yes.
Everybody from the Northeast would be rooting for Notre Dame, and everyone who went to Penn State.
The elitists versus the elitists. The haters will be out in force.
Give me chaos.
Yeah, that's what we want.
In a situation like that, Ray, who are you rooting for?
Chaos.
I'll tell
That's
you.
what I'm rooting for.
Penn State.
Can't even say it.
Penn State, Notre Dame. I'm rooting for Penn State.
You are?
Yeah, I'd root for Penn State.
Well, you should. You went to Gettysburg. It's not that far.
Only for you, Mike.
Oh.
See, I only want what's best for you.
I don't want that. I don't want you to patronize me.
No, here's why.
I don't want you to have
As
some
much as-
state pride.
No, here's why. As much as the Penn State fan base can be annoying at times, most of the people, if not all, went to Penn State, and they have a connection to Penn State. The Notre Dame fans are only fans because they're Irish or because my uncle. It's like, what are you talking about? Because their logo is the Fighting Irish, you got to like the damn team? I don't understand that. That's like me saying I'm an Eagles fan, so I'm going to root for Boston College.
Did you hear any obnoxious or read any obnoxious Penn Staters after they bounced SMU? Wasn't it relatively quiet, no reaction? Like,
Yeah,
it was
because you're not going to talk trash when you know that the end is near.
what are you talking about? That was a monster victory for them. They demolished that team. Did you hear anybody gloat?
No, because it was only step one. There's many more layers before you get to the games that matter.
Oh, okay. Speaking of college, Herbie, and Chris Fowler, by the way, State College native. Did you know that?
Oh, I didn't know that.
His father was a professor at Penn State. He went to State College High School.
I did not know
Chris
that.
Fowler. Yeah.
Where'd he go to college?
Colorado.
All right.
And that's where he lives.
Huh.
All right. So, in any event, they got a little snarky. Herb Street's stepping his foot in a lot of dog poo lately, right?
Yeah, he's been rubbing people the wrong way lately.
Yeah, he has. So
lately.
So Ohio State, of course, that's his heart, and Ohio State won in very convincing fashion in that game, which was my play of the week, by the way, over Tennessee. Demolished them. So Herb Street and Fowler snarkily said, I wonder what negative things they're going to say today on First Take. And that ruffled the feathers of the First Takeians, Stephen A. Smith, and especially Shannon Sharp. And Shannon got muscled up on him. Here it is.
Stephen, I'm going to let it slide. I'm going to be a good teammate. I'm going to let it slide. Everybody's at ESPN, because had you not taken the route you taken, I would have lit their ass up. But I'm going to let it slide. You know what, guys? Congratulations, Ohio State. You won the game. But, hey, if we're going to be on the same team, if we're going to work for the same network, don't do that. Kurt, Chris Fowler, I promise you, if you ever mention anything, any platform that I'm on again and talking about, I wonder what they're going to say in negativity, I promise you, ESPN ain't got enough bosses to keep me off y'all for what I'm going to say. So I'm going to let y'all slide today. I'm going to turn it over to D.O. before I get myself in trouble. But don't play with me. Go ahead, D.O.
Oh, man, you don't want to get Club Shay Shay angry.
Before I get in trouble.
Whoa.
Now, very team-like, Shay saying.
No. Man, I'd be a little nervous. I wouldn't be scared of a lot of people. I think I'd be a little nervous of Club Shay Shay. Not only physically, I think he would win if he really came after
He
Herb
said,
Street.
I'm going to lit your ass up.
Yeah.
And then said, before I get in trouble.
Yes, that's what I'm
There's
saying.
5 execs already coming down the hallway, man.
Yeah, he would not.
It's too late.
Come on, man. That's what they do on First Take. They rip other people, so they took a shot back. It's like, come on. Come on, Shay. You have to muscle up on my man. I know Herb Street's obnoxious. I get it.
Well, he's got him and Stephen A. And he's like, I'm going to throw it back to D.O. talking about Orlovsky. Orlovsky looked nervous if you watch that clip.
Like, nothing.
Yeah, you don't want to get involved.
All right, finally, it's Mitch from Phoenix. Hello, Mitch.
Hello?
Oh, you're there.
Sorry to disappoint you.
No, this is Joe. Hold on a second. I pushed the wrong button, bro. Sorry. That was a fat finger miss. Here's Mitch from Phoenix. What's up, Mitch?
Mike, what's the matter? You drinking too heavy last night? What's going on?
No, I haven't had a drop to drink in a while.
Before we get into our sports discussion, shout out to your boss and Bill's boss. I know he was quite ill about a week or so ago.
Yes,
Shout
Scotty.
out to him.
Scotty Master.
Wait, how does Mitch know this information?
I don't know.
He's got his cell phone number.
I think Mitch corresponds with our program director. Is that Mitch? Is that what you're doing?
Well, did you know that he was ill?
Yes, we did.
Well, I'm giving a shout out to him and his family for a speedy recovery. Why can't you be nice once?
We're trying to figure out how you knew that information.
You know that because you got some back channel thing going with him, right?
No, because my next door neighbor to where he lives in Williamsport is very good friends with your boss.
Oh,
so
there you
now-
go. It's a Williamsport connection.
Yeah.
Who knew you had a Williamsport connection, Mitch?
Yeah, the same thing like you keep asking me for the last 5 years. What do you do for a living, Mitch?
Were you an attorney?
How did you know that?
I think I remember now.
And what?
Your friend told our program director, who told us that you were an attorney back in the day.
Yeah, did he tell you what type of attorney?
No, I'm only kidding. You told us, Mitch, a few weeks ago, man.
Well, what kind of attorney? I forget. Were you attorney in Central
Anyway,
Pennsylvania?
Let's get back to your jobs. Okay, let's talk about the Eagles.
Go ahead.
Let's talk about the Eagles. The biggest concern on the Eagles, the number one concern on the Eagles, always is keep the quarterback healthy. Unfortunately, he had to go out in the last game, and I hope he has a speedy recovery. But the bottom line with the Eagles is this. They dressed 3 wide receivers. 2 of them are the only ones of the 3 can play. And they don't have a tight end. When you don't have a tight end and you only have 2 wide receivers, you're not going anywhere close to a Super Bowl.
Well, you know, and that might play out. And that's actually a good point because Dotson was nowhere to be found yesterday, was he? Was he even in the game?
Yeah, he played 47 snaps
Did he
yesterday.
really?
That
Oh,
was
he
64%.
He was invisible. So, Mitch, you actually raised a good point.
Now, let me ask you this. When he was with Washington, was he a good receiver?
No, he was He was not as good as his draft status would indicate.
No, but he certainly made more plays, but he was also given more opportunities.
I think here's the thing with a guy like Dotson. He was a dominant college player because he could outrun everybody. I mean, once he got to the NFL, he's like lost a little confidence, and he plays, I think, more in fear of his lack of ability than aggression to accommodate his speed.
Well, he's a Penn State guy, right?
Yes.
So you watched him a lot in college, so you could analyze it better. I really don't remember him in college that much. I do remember him making some plays for Washington, but when you come here and you're number 4, the number 4 option usually, because Goddard is even ahead of you. But
he was a great college player. So as fate would have it, that's the game I took Brian Westbrook up to Penn State. They played Villanova to open the season, right? And it was a noon game, and Brian's all pumped up. We're on the sidelines, Villanova sidelines, and Brian was like getting in the huddle before they took the field for the kickoff, right? So they get the ball, and Penn State gets the ball first, and I go. And Dotson's wide right. And I go, and they got single coverage on. I go, Brian, seriously? They got single coverage on? First play of the game is an 80-yard touchdown with Dotson. Because he can just outrun it.
But you can't do that at the NFL
talking about
level.
an FCS guy
Yeah.
trying to guard him. Like they're not going to help him on that end with this guy?
yeah, that's like stealing money right there.
Yeah. All right, 610-632-0975. Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Losing hurts. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate. The Eagles lost 36-33 to the Commanders on Sunday, snapping their franchise record 10-game winning streak. Jalen Hurts was concussed in the first quarter on a drive that ultimately put the Eagles up 14-0. The offense did not score a touchdown after the first quarter and only put up 6 points off the defense's 4 turnovers that came in the final 3 quarters of the game. The game was littered with undisciplined moments, whether it be penalties, poor special teams work, or a defense that allowed 22 points in the fourth quarter, including the last-minute touchdown that gave the Commanders the lead. Nick Sirianni talked about all the sloppiness after the game.
We'll go back to work regardless of who played in what situation, and we'll everybody from myself to the coaches to the players will hold ourselves accountable.
Now, the Eagles really on the outside looking in when it comes to the top seed in the NFC and still did not clinch the NFC East crown. They have a chance to clinch that NFC East crown next weekend against the Cowboys. Elsewhere in Philadelphia sports, the Phillies trade for Jesus Luzardo from the Marlins, bolstering an already elite starting rotation. And for the 76ers, they've got the Spurs tonight. You can listen to the game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. I'm Ray Dunn, the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic, 97.5thefanatic.com.
Happy holidays from the Fanatic family to yours.
Hey there, it's Silvana Kelleher, producer of The Best Show Ever. I just want to wish everyone happy holidays.
Show has been holding court.
It doesn't knock me down a peg at all when I evaluate the Eagles' overall strength to win the NFC. And I know people are going, well, I don't know about that, Mike. I'm just not going to overreact to a game where the starting quarterback was lost and they were really undisciplined. Now, and I don't understand how the Commanders won that game. I don't understand how they allow them to go right down the field for that game-winning touchdown on the final drive. And some losses are easier to get over than others. And in a way, this loss prevents the Eagles from having to win 17 in a row, which is what we talked about. It gives them a chance to reset and get knocked down a peg. And it also puts them in a position right now to play the Commanders at home in the first round of the playoffs.
Mike and Bill have been pleading their cases.
They only let up 36 points yesterday. That's the only time they've ever done that all season. It's the most passing yards that they've let up since before the bye to the Tampa Bay Bucks. So there were some things with the defense where you're like, what the hell was going on? But you can't expect them to be great every single week. I'm just chalking this up to a weird, fluky, sloppy game. Hopefully this forces them to refocus and they're better for it.
It was very weird. But again, we can look at the drop by Devontae Smith. We can look at the drop by Barkley. But we can look at they still had the game in their hands when Braden Mann kicked off, preceding the final drive.
The Mike Missanelli Show Holding Court is brought to you by Grunko Law, your law firm when you need help because of an injury. We treat every case like it's Dallas Week. Pray for peace, prepare for trial. Now back to Mike Missanelli on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
All right, and try to guess what was most annoying to me or added to the annoyance at the end of the game. Get back to that in a second. 1 o'clock hour brought to you by Ferguson HVAC Line Conklin. Attention HVAC contractors for equipment, parts, and supplies for every heating and cooling job. Visit one of Ferguson's counter locations in Ben Salem, King of Prussia, Pennsauken, or Westchester. What added to the annoyance at the end of the game, Bill?
At the end of the game?
Towards the end of the game, after Washington scored the touchdown, the camera shot to something that annoyed me. And I don't even know why it does, but it did.
One of the players taunting the Eagles crowd?
No.
I don't know what it would be.
Mr. Owner.
Oh, Josh Harris. That's where you're going.
Clapping like a seal.
Yeah.
On the sidelines.
Now, he did grow up a Commanders fan, I think, right? Or a Washington fan. They weren't the Commanders back
Is he
then.
from that area?
I think so.
It still annoys me.
Yeah,
I got a team up here that's suffering that he owns. He's down there. For the freaking Commanders.
It is a tough look, man. It's a tough look. That's why I don't like that he's the owner of both, but he's a businessman. Look, we've been highlighting a lot of the negatives, though. Let me just hit you with 2 positives from yesterday to make myself feel better, that we can at least get these out. The first quarter points, Mike, because in the first 13 games of the season, the Eagles only had 17 first quarter points. In the last 2 weeks, they now have had 31. They had 21 first quarter points yesterday. That was a positive. 5 takeaways by the defense. That was a positive. And Jake Elliott finally connecting from 50-plus on a clutch kick when you're down 28-27, hitting from 50 on the road outdoors. I know we're focused on some negativity,
that's
but
fair.
there were some positives.
That's fair. How'd you feel about the Commanders coming out of the gate in their first series and going for it at their own 49 on 4th and 1? How'd you feel about that one?
Well, I felt good because the Eagles stopped it and they got the ball
that's what
back.
I mean. What that kind of gave them their first touchdown, didn't it?
But I understood Dan Quinn's aggressiveness there.
Really? First series?
The reason why is because of who your opponent is. You're thinking, all right, this Eagles offense, they're going to be able to move the ball, and they showed that they could. Obviously, before Jalen Hurts got hurt, they had a great first quarter before the teams adjusted to Kenny Pickett and decided, hey, we're not going to let him beat us. He's going to have to beat us with his arm. So I think you got to show that level of aggressiveness against a good team.
No, you
like
don't.
Eagles.
It's idiotic to do it on the first series of the game to give a team that you think you can't outscore anyway 7 points. Come on, man.
It was midfield.
49.
Yeah, it was midfield. If it was on their own 30, no.
They had to get
Midfield,
49 yards for a touchdown.
I still was all right with it.
All right. Right. Were you all right with that?
Yeah, I was all right with that.
You were?
Yeah.
Going for it for the first series of the game.
Yep.
Get behind 7-0 to this team.
In your mind, you're not getting behind 7-0. You're setting the tone for the game.
Oh, you are?
Go, get that first down.
You don't think that they're going to move the ball on you 49 yards? And put
No, you're getting the first down in your mind.
You gave them a Christmas gift with the points there.
Not necessarily.
Oh, man. All right.
If your defense goes 3 and out, they got to punt. The Eagles would have had to have punted. Look, they weren't going to. If Jalen Hurts was in this game for the whole game, I don't think they would have been able to stop them. If Jalen played the whole
Jalen
game.
Hurts was in the game for that series after they didn't make the 4th and 1.
I know, but what I'm saying is, if you're Dan Quinn, your mentality is, even if we punt, they probably are going to drive down the field.
Totally stupid. You're at home. You punt that ball. They take over at the 10. All right, let's go to T-Love on a cell. T-Love, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. T-Love.
Yo, what's going on, fellas?
What's going on, T-Love?
Oh, man, other than a loss, man, I'm not hanging my head that low. But, hey, Bill, first of all, check this out, man. You want to say Fitty, go ahead and say Fitty, man. Don't feel no way about it, because every time I hear somebody say John, every time I hear John come out of somebody's mouth, oh, man, come on, man. If that ain't cultural appropriations, I don't know what is,
Yeah. But I appreciate it, T-Love. Respect, man.
Respect. Hey, listen, Mikey, I respect you when you say it. I know which side of the fence you on. But dig it.
I always say Fitty.
I'm talking about John.
Because I can roll like
John.
that, T-Love. You know what I'm saying?
John all the time.
Yeah,
man.
I don't ever say John. I say it in the commercial because it's written.
Yeah. Now, I will admit, T-Love, I use John.
In fact, I got the commercial coming up. I might have to say John at 112.
Yeah, don't you feel so wrong?
I do.
Anyway, you should. But anyway, listen. Buddy Ryan, years ago, with the famous kneel down in the past. Remember that?
Yeah, Bill. Did you have a problem with that? Oh, Bill doesn't remember. He was only 6. That was before he started.
I remember it, but that was an intentional rub-in.
Iron.
But that was an intentional rub-in in their face.
That was a rub-in in and that's what they did. That's what they did. But you shouldn't have to do that to a team that's so inept. You know what I mean? What's crazy about it is that the Dallas Cowboys at that time were very good, and they were our rivals. You know what I mean? But that's not even what I called to talk about. What I wanted to say is about the defense, the penalties. You want the aggression. You got to have the aggression. Aggression is what we didn't have last year. Like, Carter reminds me so much of Ndamukong Suh, and you remember how he used to get into it all the time. You want that aggression. He's on the same level. You know what I mean? Now, oh, man.
Pretty good call by you. Ndamukong Suh, that's a pretty good call.
Yeah, it's a nice comparison.
Yeah, you want that aggression. Now, with CJ, all of that was missing. When he went out of the game, that was missing. What you don't want is the ridiculousness. And I wonder, what coach will they actually listen to? Who will make the most impact talking to these guys about it? We talked about it last week. This is 2 weeks in a row. Carter came up with got the useless penalty, but you don't want him. You want him to assert his dominance over people. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't mind that. I don't mind, as long as you don't pick up 2 and get ejected from the game, because now your aggression is costing the team. And that's one thing Adama couldn't stop doing early in his.
Oh, you're right, man. That's a good call by T-Love today. Well, it was an MVP caller today, T-Love.
Yeah, no, he's spot on with it. It is, and he's saying, who's the coach?
Who's going to? It's Sirianni. It's Sirianni's got to set that straight with Jalen Carter. I mean, he's one of those guys that he was that kind of player at Georgia, where they always had to reprimand him and get it. But see, they held the hammer down there at Georgia, like Kirby Smart had the hammer on him.
But I will say though, Jalen Carter's personal foul was a little ticky-tacky on Sunday. Last week, there's no doubt about it. He punched a guy in the head. It was a dumb play. You could have given a first down to the Steelers. That offensive lineman, went flying like he had been pushed so hard. He barely touched him. But see, I don't necessarily think...
It was like a Three Stooges move.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
You bend behind a guy.
See, but you say...
We used to do that. We used to do that to friends.
What, with the person behind you? Yeah. And you'd push them?
Yeah.
People can get really hurt. We used to do the same thing. Yeah, you'd be on all fours behind and you push.
Ha, 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 ha. Meanwhile, the guy's got a broken skull.
Yeah. So funny. Well, listen, you said, that's on Sirianni, the coach. not that you're wrong necessarily, but I think it means more when it comes from the leaders on the team. Like after Carter got that penalty, did you see who was talking to him on the field? It was Nakobe Dean. So I think a lot of times the leaders on the field are the
got
ones.
Clout with him because he probably did that a lot in Georgia. right?
Exactly.
No, I hear you. You need a Brian Dawkins type.
Exactly. Yeah, you need that
in
leadership.
that situation. All right, 610-632-0975. Mark will be up next. We got the other Mark. We got Joe. We got the Weave coming in. By the way, the Cowboys and the Eagles have been moved to 1 o'clock.
Yeah, they flexed.
No 425 game. Packers, Vikings into the 425 slot. Eagles, Cowboys, 1 p.m. I like it. I like the 1 o'clock game. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Happy holidays from the Fanatic family.
honor of Christmas Eve. It should be fun. My buddy Jason Lee texted me and he said, is Christmas wrapping by the waitresses in the field?
Wait, which one's that? Is
Merry
that
Christmas. Merry Christmas. But I think I'll miss this one this year.
Yeah, I know that one.
Merry Christmas. Isn't the one where they talk about cranberry? She meets a guy in a grocery store and says, oh, you forgot cranberries too?
It's hard to hear the words. I know the song, but it's hard to hear the words.
Yeah, it's not in the field. It just got nosed out. There it is.
Wow, good pull.
They're right. So that was probably came in 33rd, which means it missed the cut.
This reminds me of the
There you
movie
go.
Fred Claus with Vince Vaughn. I think
There
this
you
is
go. But tomorrow's field, the 4 versus 5 is a nightmare to select, right? Let me introduce this matchup to you here.
Oh, boy.
The 5 seed, Last Christmas by Wham.
That's going to be a lot of people's favorites. Who's that going up against if that's the 5?
That's going up against the 4 seed, Christmas in Hollis Queens.
Oh, man.
By Run DMC.
What a matchup.
That's a tough one, man.
I'm going. Can I give you what my vote would be?
You're going to go Christmas in Hollis.
Yeah, I would go Christmas in Hollis.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. That Wham song is a favorite for a lot of people.
It is. My kids are singing it now. They love it.
Who's the second member of Wham?
George Michael is in.
Yeah,
I don't think I know the other one. Poor guy.
He gets this.
Poor guy.
It's Andrew Ridgely.
Yeah, no idea. I don't think I've even heard the name.
Really? All right, so there you go.
Why does George Michael get all the credit?
Because he was more out front. You know, he was the dashing guy.
See, I don't know if this is your era or not. Do you know who had a George Michael poster on her wall? It was a sitcom I watched growing up a lot.
No, I don't. Who was it? I didn't watch sitcoms.
Ray, do you know?
No.
Kelly Kapowski from Saved by the Bell.
Oh, is that right? Were you a Saved by the Bell guy?
Oh, I was obsessed with Saved by the Bell. I've seen every episode multiple times. I haven't watched it in years.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's terrible now.
I didn't watch those kind of shows. But
yeah, when I was young, that was the best.
So I'm watching Pulp Fiction. I can't go back to Saved by the Bell. All right, let's go to Mark in New Jersey. Mark, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Mark.
Hey, what's going on?
What's up, Mark?
Now, fellas, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure there's nowhere in the handbook, a rule book, that says if a player says something nasty enough to you after the play is over,
you want me to read
you
it?
can
You want-
take
would you
your
like-
fist and knock the guy's head off. Not only do you not get a flag, he gets a
Well,
flag.
let me explain it to you.
Crazy.
First of all, the rule says using abusive, threatening, or insulting language or gestures to opponents, teammates, officials, or representative of the league. So the official heard that. That was the trigger for him to throw the flag. He didn't, at that point, think it was fair since CJGJ actually initiated it. He didn't think it was fair for the retaliation because what he heard must have been that crazy.
Yeah, but Mike, he stepped in right away and threw the. Did you just see CJ's face?
Yeah, but see, here's what the decision was made before the push of the helmet. Like that's what
there should have been
precipitated.
offsetting penalties.
I agree with you, but what I'm saying is that once the official heard that, he grabs his flag, and at that point, it's over. Like he incited it. Boom. That's where the flag should go.
Yeah, but you agree. They both should have got it. Both.
It's kind of double jeopardy too, because he got punched and he got the flag. That's double jeopardy. Come on, Mike. You know what I mean?
I get it.
Now, but only this. Did you see Jalen Carter's reaction behind him? It was hilarious. He was like, I did the same thing last week. It didn't work out for me.
Yeah.
I mean, he was. That's why CJGJ got thrown out later, because he couldn't believe.
Yeah, I get it, but he did it again. Once you had the dog bite, what do you want? You put your knee out for
But
another dog bite?
I'm saying he was having a hard time processing. He said, wait a minute. This guy just punched me in the face in front of the referee.
Yeah. I'll tell you what you want to do. I'll tell you,
That was-
Mark, what you want to do is you want to Google CJGJ's live Instagram.
He had every right.
Oh, you heard it? Have you heard it?
That is why he did that, because he couldn't believe it. I'm telling you, they should investigate that ref. I want to know what his reasoning was. What did he say?
Well, I don't know. You can imagine.
I
I
know.
guarantee you that there were a few racial epithets in there, even though he was saying it to someone else.
But think about this. Going forward, that sets a bad precedent. So now guys are going to say, oh, well, referee, you heard what he said. Boom. and I want to hit somebody now. Like, whoa.
You're right about that. They rarely call that. That guy must have not liked hearing what he heard.
But I understand Mark's frustration with the first penalty because I felt like there should have been offsetting calls. However, as much as I love the aggression and the trash talk that CJ plays with, once you get the first one, and it's kind of like an NBA player. When you got 5 fouls, maybe you're not going to go up and challenge at the rim like you would if you didn't have 5 fouls. CJ has to know I got to be on my best behavior now.
Fans don't understand, though. They look at it provincially. Like the referees are always picking on us guys. That's the mentality. Oh, we didn't do anything wrong. What did he do wrong? Well, a lot of people didn't know that you can actually get an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty for bad language, right?
Yeah.
So once they found that out, it's like, okay, now he's got to be smarter. But if you're going to do the same thing that the guy give you a flag for unsportsmanlike conduct, do you not know you're going to get thrown out and hurt your team? That's where you got to draw a line.
And it did hurt the team because that played into the touchdown when Tristan McCullum's there. It probably even played into the 12-man on the field. I know Slay was coming on, but there's a lot of disarray in that secondary after CJ gets ejected.
Exactly. All right, Mark in Collegeville. Mark, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Mike, Bill, Ray, happy holidays.
You too, Mark.
Hey, by the way, Bill, I'm still looking into the statue right now. We're going to get construction underway. The company that I called, I heard they also had a request from the Washington fans to have a statue built for the rest after yesterday as well.
You know what would be cheaper, Mark? It would be cheaper if you designed like a blow-up bill. Instead of having to chisel something, like a blow-up bill. It's very cheap. You can put a bald guy on and just attach a beard, and it would look like it.
Bill deserves the best. We're not going to get the guys that made the Dwayne Wade or the Ronaldo statues. We're going to get good quality craftsmanship for this statue. But we could do I think the Redskins could probably do the blow up instead because
Commanders.
Those refs, I don't want to admit as much into yesterday as that. We lost the game. Because of the refs. I don't think that the better team won yesterday either. But this is where I was calling in, and I think you might have answered my question already because what just baffled me yesterday was in terms of the refs. I didn't get how. I don't know what CJGJ said. Okay, I don't know what he said, but he got thrown out. There was no review, and then on the Pickett's penalty, clearly that got called back. I mean, there wasn't a penalty on Pickett's, but at that point in the game, one of the biggest plays of the game, the refs called that back. They didn't even go back and review the hit on Hurts. They didn't review. I mean, and with CJGJ as well. That should have been reviewed, I think, at least because the hands of the face, nothing called on the Redskins player, but...
Commanders.
Yeah.
Commanders. Their names.
Say what?
Their names, the Commanders.
The Commanders?
Yeah.
Did I not say that?
You said it twice. You said the R word.
Oh, my
fault.
My fault.
That's all right. I'm just trying to keep it
my fault.
straight.
But yes, no, that was the one thing that puzzled me yesterday because I don't know the context of what
I don't know.
CJ
Do you think there was a penalty on Hurts? Should that have been a penalty?
I didn't think so. I know people, when you go back and you watch it, it looks like maybe he hits the head and then that forces the head to hit the ground.
We're looking at it like
in slow motion.
It's our guy, and he wasn't protected by the officials. Now, clearly, the Kenny Pickett thing was not a head hit.
No, he goes over the top. And I think we need to clear something up because Mark, I think, may be implying that they're using replay assist in those situations, and they're not supposed to. Penalties are not subject to replay assist. That's just the referees getting together, discussing it, and a guy says, no, I saw it from a different angle.
Right.
They're not using replay for that.
Yeah, I think what happened was his forearm, the tackler's forearm, eventually hit his helmet, but it wasn't like a helmet-to-helmet shot.
I agree.
All right. Let's come down the home stretch with a couple calls. 610-632-0975. It is the Mike Missanelli Show on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update. Allstate.
Losing hurts. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate. Eagles lost 36-33 to the Commanders on Sunday, snapping their franchise record 10-game winning streak. Jalen Hurts was concussed in the first quarter on a drive that ultimately put the Eagles up 14-0. The offense did not score a touchdown after the first quarter, only put up 6 points off defense's 4 turnovers that came in the final 3 quarters of the game. The game was littered with undisciplined moments, whether it be penalties, poor special teams play, or you're looking at a defense that allowed 22 points in the fourth quarter, including a last-minute drive that gave the Commanders the lead for good. Here's Nick Sirianni on the sloppiness of that game.
We'll go back to work regardless of, who played in what situation, and we'll, everybody from myself to the coaches to the players will hold ourselves accountable.
Now that loss pretty much puts the top seed out of the conversation with the Eagles. Also did not allow them to clinch the NFC East. They'll, of course, have the opportunity to do that next Sunday against the Cowboys in a game that's been moved up. 1 o'clock start for that one. Packers-Vikings gets put in that 4:25 slot. So the Eagles game against the Cowboys now 1 o'clock next Sunday. Elsewhere in Philadelphia sports, the Phillies trade for Jesus Luzardo, bolstering an already elite starting rotation. And the 76ers have the Spurs tonight. You can listen to the game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. I'm Ray Dunn, the home, the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
32, Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5, The Fanatic. You know, it's really interesting that you brought up Mark Sanchez today, Ray. And I referred to Sanchez killing Penn State in a bowl game. I rarely do this, man. I rarely go. In fact, that's the only bowl game I've ever gone to. The 2008 season, they were in the Rose Bowl against USC, Penn State. I go, that's a good trip, man. Stayed in Santa Barbara, get to Pasadena for the Rose Bowl, and I get a couple of cocktails in me prior to the game, and I'm sparring with these USC people because they're talking about Mark Sanchez. And I'm going, you people think he's a pro quarterback? He stinks. And I'm going back and forth with them, right? The game starts. 31-7 at halftime. USC. He throws 4 touchdowns and runs for another one.
This is bad. This is very, very bad.
Was that his last season before he declared for the draft?
I think so. Because they were touting him as a pro quarterback. He's not a pro quarterback.
Well, then he went to the Jets.
Got drafted pretty high, right?
Yeah, I think he brought the Jets to the AFC Championship game.
The other one was when I went to Penn State to play. They played highly. They might have been number 1, Miami, with Clinton Portis, Jeremy Shockey. I forget who the quarterback was. Right. So
was that Dorsey?
I don't know. It might have been Dorsey. Who was the quarterback when they had? It might have been Dorsey.
I thought it may have been Dorsey because that's probably when I was in college. I was probably like 03, maybe 02,
somewhere in there.
something like
But
that.
I go up there with, of course, my buddy Anthony Gargano, who used to work here. But I take my buddy Frank DeLeo, who was Tootie in Goodfellas. And we had an RV that we stayed in. And we're all pumped up for the game. We go into the game. 35-0 at halftime.
Oh, my
Miami.
God.
Now, at that point, what do you do? You know, it's not even – you can't even stay for the game.
Yeah, it's not fun.
All right. We talked about
It was Dorsey, by the way.
Was Ken Dorsey?
Yes.
Oh, look at that.
They had a star-studded team. Portis ran for like 200 yards that game. In any event, he said, like, I suggested a blow-up doll for you. How do you feel about, since it's we get close to Christmas Eve tomorrow, how do you feel about the blow-up Santas on the lawn?
All right, this is funny that you bring this up because my wife is very anti-blow-up. She thinks it looks terrible.
It's cheesy, doesn't it?
Yeah, she thinks it looks terrible. She doesn't like it when it's not blown up. It's just laying on the grass.
Yeah, because it's hard to keep it blown.
So we have lights throughout.
Yeah.
We had a nice company, New Jersey Holiday Lights Co. did our lights. I coached these kids in college, and then they came out and did it.
You hired a crew to put your lights up?
Well, they reached out. I coached them when they were in high school. I was their football coach. And they reached out and said, hey, can we do the lights? And you do some social media stuff
What is
for
that,
us.
child labor?
No, they're not kids now. They're not kids now. Anyway, they did that. So we have these really
pay them in popsicles.
So we have these really nice lights. We have these really nice lights trimming the house. I said the only thing we're missing is a nice blow up for the front lawn. So I was able to convince her to let me get. I got Santa and the 3 reindeer blow up, just one. Well, I'm not allowed to have more than one. That was the compromise.
Santa and the 3 reindeer, all of them are blow ups.
Well, it's one blow up.
Oh, it's one blow up.
But it's Santa in his sleigh with 3 reindeer. I think it looks nice. But I do agree with you. I think if you go over the top, you got like 4 or 5 blow ups. It's too much.
Well, how about the one? Like I was reading a story the other day, guy had a 42-foot blow up Santa.
Yeah, it's probably a little much.
Is that too much?
I'll tell you though, my kids love it, man. The kids love the
well,
blow
I'm
ups.
sure the kids love it.
Yeah.
How about the blow up snow globe that blows the,
It's pretty cool. And it just blows the snow and all.
You like that one?
Yeah, they're not cheap,
I'm gonna
man.
tell you, I'm a serene white candle, maybe a couple
wreaths,
couple fawns.
Oh.
Yeah, a couple lighted fawns on your lawn.
I don't do that anymore. When I was a kid, they were stolen from our front lawn, and I've been traumatized.
I see. I'll put this cheap ass projector thing.
They don't work, dude.
No, there was.
I hate the projectors on the
I know.
house.
You can't even tell what it is.
No, it's ridiculous. The projector
I don't even
is
turn it on anymore.
The projector is a lazy move, I think.
It was a lazy move for me.
Yeah.
I like a nice tight rim.
What's a rim?
Well, when you
where are we going here?
Sorry, it sounded wrong. When you rim the house, tight.
Yeah, that's what my house
when
looks
you
like right now.
rim the A-frame and then
Yes.
around the.
That's what my house looks like.
Around the brains,
But I couldn't do that myself. That's why the company had to come out and do it. I'm not getting on a 30-foot ladder and risking my life.
Well, that was totally accidental, by the way.
I didn't know where you were going.
I'm sorry. All right, let's Let's go to Joe.
Ray behind the glass when he starts
I'm
laughing.
delirious at this point.
Yeah, Ray's
That
on
was
like
all I needed.
Ray
to
has
set me
no
up.
But
sleep.
you know how sometimes the rims are sloppy. Wait, they don't
Yes.
they don't pull them taut
Yeah,
enough.
I think we should move on.
You got to pull it taut. All right, let's go. What is this?
I don't know. Blow up.
Sophomore English class.
Ray, yeah, Ray's giggling.
This is very bad.
Joe, that's Philly. Joe, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Joe.
Hey, what's up, Mike?
What's up, Joe?
Ray. Oh, you know what? Real quick, Bill, I watched every episode of Saved by the Bell too. And Mike, a quick thing about that Penn State thing. I played at Roman Catholic High School in the early '90s. Coming from the inner city, and when I started playing football, I had no idea that Penn State Notre Dame culture was that big and that strong. I mean,
Did you play with Marv?
Yeah, I played with Marv.
Oh, all right, okay. Marv Harris. Yep.
Yeah, he's like 2 years ahead of me.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That was my man.
All right.
That was my man. You know what? Funny story about him. Last time I seen him, it was in a go-go bar about 20 years ago, before when he was in Syracuse. He said, "Big Joe, you got any money?" I said, "I got a little bit." He gave me all the ones he had. I don't know how many it was. It was a ton of ones. He gave me a bunch of ones and put them in my pocket. And he was with the basketball team, and he left with the Syracuse basketball team. Oh, man, good guy, though.
Hold on, Joe. That's a great story, but I don't think that's a story you're supposed to tell. You don't say who you saw at a strip club.
Marvin gave up the ones to Joe. He wasn't raining it.
Yeah, but you don't tell people.
Joe was raining.
If you run into someone at a strip club, that stays in the strip club. You don't have to announce it on the air.
I mean, it was almost 25 years ago. It was before.
Now, what were you saying about Penn State?
First time when I got on the field, I seen all the Irish kids with the Penn State. with the Notre Dame.
Oh yeah, you gotta have the leprechaun. That's standard issue, man.
The lion. That was new to my culture. It surprised me. It's a beautiful thing, though. I even wanted to get a tattoo. I didn't have no idea about Penn State or Notre Dame. I didn't realize that culture was that big, so I got to high school.
The culture is bigger with the fighting Irish, with the little fighting leprechaun. That's a classic logo. I mean, I would never get a Penn State lion tattoo.
Yeah, but that was happy kids. Penn State Notre Dame was always talk about when I was in school. I remember I got a letter from Sandusky, a handwritten letter, back in those days. And my coach gave it to me, and it was like I got a letter from Bill Clinton or something. You know what I mean? That's how much Penn State love and all that kind of. It was a totally different culture if you're not into the college thing. Yeah, Penn State is really that big. Penn State Notre Dame is really that big. But my Eagles play, Mike. I think Jalen Hurts, when he got hurt, I like the Cows from Alabama. I think the Eagles were on a way to blowing that game out. They was on a way to blowing that out. It was such a big letdown. It hurt, and Saquon started so strong. And they were done by the fourth quarter. I just think it was just an entire team let down. The leader went down, and just everything went down with it. I don't think it's nothing to worry about at all. I think they'll be back.
I totally agree with you. Totally. Listen, it was startling to see them lose that game like they did. But again, I go, can I really now flop and say they're no longer the best team in the NFC? No, my conclusion was, all right, they lost the game. They're still better than the Lions. I know the Lions rebounded yesterday. I get it. They're still banged up on defense. And with Hurts in that game yesterday, they probably would have scored a 40. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think they win the game easily. The biggest shocker to me, though, was just watching the defense fall apart in the fourth quarter. And I know they battled injuries, and I'm not going to overreact. You have a game like that every once in a while, but it was surprising to see a defense that has been so dominant give up 22 points in a quarter when they haven't given up 22 points in so many games, and they only gave up 23 points to the Jags. Outside of that, nothing in the last 10 games. It was just a weird thing to see. But chalk it up. Hopefully it's a learning experience. The defense comes back stronger next week. And how about this? I told you a lot of people were giving heat to Joe Davis and Greg Olsen on the call yesterday. They're on the call again on Sunday for Eagles-Cowboys.
They're back. What was the beef exactly? That they weren't pro-Eagle enough?
Well, the biggest beef that I saw from people on Twitter was that Joe Davis and Greg Olsen kept talking about how, I can't believe the Commanders are still in this game even though they've committed 5 turnovers. What's happening? And it's like, you're not going to acknowledge that the starting quarterback for the Eagles is out? And like one of the best comparisons, I don't remember who said it, was, could you imagine if Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen was knocked out of a game for the Chiefs or the Bills? All you would hear about is how the team's not the same without their starting quarterback. But Hurts gets knocked out 5 minutes in, and they barely talked about it. They barely said it. Oh, can't believe it. Jaden Daniels is hanging in this game. Yeah, why do you think?
See, there's two things that I never do.
Complain about the announcers?
Complain about the announcers because we are conditioned to think that they're not being pro-us enough. Everybody thinks the same thing in every city. And so I ignore it. And the other is officials' calls. Oh, the officials are against us. Oh, they made somebody. All the calls even out, and the calls on the air even out. It kind of insults me that we could be that insecure to think those kind of things. We need to be bigger.
Yeah, but listen to this. Okay, this is Greg Olson's not doing himself any favors.
Okay,
so Greg Olson, I guess, he saw that he was getting hated on by Eagles fans.
Oh, he lashed back.
Lashes back. This is Greg Olson. This is a tweet from Greg Olson.
Yeah, I saw that.
Eagles fans are the best. They lose for the first time in months after giving up 36 points, and we didn't make enough excuses for them. Sounds like we did a great job.
Yeah, he trolled.
I mean, that's really clapping back.
He trolled. But he's a football player who, when somebody comes at him, probably wants to come back at him. Like he probably isn't insecure enough to say, just laugh it off. Like a ha-ha.
Well, maybe he would have been if he wasn't demoted this year for Tom Brady.
He's still red-assed.
Yes. And I think he should be. I honestly, as much as
Tom Brady, Greg, I got news for you. It doesn't matter how good you think you are.
You don't have the name.
You're not Brady.
Yeah, you don't have the name.
They pay that guy a lot of money because he's got a bigger profile than you. All right? Get over it. What is he making? What do you think Greg Olson's making? Is he making a good living?
Oh, I'm sure he's another Miami guy, right? Didn't he went to the University of Miami.
Is he a U guy? Yeah.
All right, he's making $3 million during the 2024 season.
Making $3 million.
After making $10 million during the 2023 season.
Oh, so you got a pay cut?
So you got a pay cut, too.
It's like me.
Well, not really. You're probably making more than your prior gig.
Where I didn't make anything at all? Is that what you're saying?
No, we don't go there anymore.
I'm actually in the hole. I had to buy gas. I had to buy snacks at 7-Eleven on the way down, on the way back. I reported on my taxes a loss.
Oh, boy.
Anyway.
Do you remember, back to Greg Olson, do you remember when he got in trouble for that nasty rap song that he did when he was at Miami?
No, I don't remember that. I don't even remember him being at Miami.
Yeah, he got
Miami tight end.
He was a Miami tight end.
Once Shockey was there, any tight end kind of like falls,
Oh, dude, I hated Shockey, but at the same time, I loved him because I was playing tight end around the time Shockey was at Miami. I wanted to be that type of tight end.
Let me ask you a question. Did they put HGH in your bottle or creatine or anything when you were
I was
growing up?
always all natural. I just was able to
you were all natural?
get big.
Yeah? The parental units didn't put a little creatine in the formula?
Wait, so you don't remember this?
What?
When Greg Olson was at Miami, he was part of a rap group called the 7th Floor Crew.
Really?
And he has a whole line of rap that's very inappropriate. Like very sexual towards women and all that.
That doesn't come up.
I think it did. I think he's like apologized
on the broadcast. Did it come up?
No, I think he had to apologize for it when he was in college. If I'm not mistaken.
You expected Joe Davis to be like?
Well, if you were in a network, wouldn't you like to throw that in there?
No, I think they were trying to move past that.
Oh, they were?
He got in trouble for that.
Well, there's got to be a mild lyric in there. This is Greg Olson back in the day type of thing. All right.
Yeah, hold on.
Also, while we're talking this Miami team, looking back at the team that they had that day you went up to Penn State.
Yeah.
Portis, Willis McGahee, and Frank Gore.
Oh, God, I forgot about that.
All in the same backfield.
Portis, Willis McGahee, and Frank Gore.
And Andre Johnson also on that team.
It was unbelievable.
That's pretty good. Yeah,
excuse my age here, but my God.
It's 35-0. It's the first time I ever walked out on a Penn State game. I couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah, they were pretty good.
I can't blame you on that one.
They were pretty good.
All right. It's time for Closing Arguments.
Now, Closing Arguments on the Mike Missanelli Show. Brought to you by Lowenthal and Abrams Injury Attorneys. Injured in an accident, call 800-876-LAWYER or visit LowenthalAbrams.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, closing argument is that I was unmoved by yesterday's result. I watched the result. I watched it in real time. It's like when you lose a game like that, everything transpires in slow motion. You go, uh-oh. Oh, are they going to actually score a touchdown? And then, bam, there it is, the touchdown pass in the back of the end zone, victimizing a linebacker and a safety who didn't get over fast enough. And I'm going, wow, I know there's going to be a reaction to this. The people are going to go, see that? They do it all the time. And I didn't have that reaction at all. Because despite the fact that they lost yesterday and their defense got railed a little bit, and that had been consistent, and that is the foundation of this team, I still think they're the best team in the NFC. And I still think that if they go to Detroit or Minnesota, it's not going to matter. They will win that game. All right? So yesterday did nothing for me. Billy?
How about this? Me and Mikey Miss seeing eye to eye today. I'm right there with you. I'm not overreacting to one game. This was a fluky, sloppy game. There was a lot of things at play that resulted in this result. You got to hope now that, especially on the defensive side of the ball, that they look inward, they refocus, they bounce back in a big way. I was a little concerned about them having to win 17 in a row anyway. That's out the door. I was concerned that if they didn't get the bye and they would have played their starters in Week 18, that's probably out the door. So there are positives that can be taken from losing a football game. Chalk it up as a fluke. You didn't have your starting quarterback. I don't expect the Washington Commanders to be able to beat this team in the playoffs, and I'm right there with you, Mike. I still have the Eagles as my favorites to go to the Super Bowl. Get ready for New Orleans.
All right. Tomorrow, a special New Year's Eve show. Yeah, we'll talk Eagles. We may talk Sixers and Flyers. They play tonight. But tomorrow we will have an abbreviated version of the old Field of 64 that I used to do with Christmas songs, just to get into the Christmas spirit on New Year's Eve, where we have the 32 top Christmas songs seeded from 1 to 8 in each region.
Really looking forward to it. You said we're going to talk Eagles, maybe some Sixers, and maybe Dombrowski was listening to me getting a fifth starter, Mike.
We didn't even talk about that.
We didn't mention it today.
Jesus Luzardo. He pitched well against the Phillies last year, if you remember. And I believe that they have acquired him because they want to maybe make a move with Ranger Sanchez.
Suarez. Yeah, Christopher Sanchez. You keep mixing them up.
I keep mixing them up. Ranger Suarez.
So maybe we'll talk a little about that tomorrow.
He's due for a big contract, so they probably want to escape from that. Everybody, have a great rest of the night. If you haven't finished your Christmas shopping yet, I assume you're out there right now doing that. Get it all in. You got today and tomorrow, and then you got the big day where you open the presents. Have a great night. Have a great time shopping. Be careful out there. There's a lot of traffic, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
First quarter and drive that ended up putting the Eagles up